Hello, you are listening to Ultraman? No. Hello, you are listening to Ultra Q, episode 131. My name is Red. I'm joined by Mel.
Hi everyone. Just want to let everyone know this is probably going to be my last podcast.
Oh, damn.
Bit abrupt, but you know, I think I found something I want to try. They say I have the people at that really up and coming startup company, Super Eye Productions, really appreciates my talents in a way that no one else does, which means they're really smart and good, and I should go there.
Mel, I don't know what they see in you. I think your creative decisions are just all out of whack. I think your taste for absurdism, the people simply won't accept it.
Why is it snowing in the summer?
Exactly.
Well, it's the Southern Hemisphere.
I see. Also joined by Brad.
That guy is on fire on purpose, right?
Is that supposed to happen? I don't think so. Everyone extremely slow to respond to the guy who is on fire.
Guy on fire, taking it really well. I didn't hear no screaming. Seemed pretty chill about the whole thing.
Well, that's what you get when you put Arashi in the suit.
Yeah, when you put Arashi. The fact it's Arashi is really funny.
The choice of cameos for old actors in this movie is great.
We get Captain Maratsu
Toru
for like a
Naruto
moment.
being Hayata is funny.
Yes.
Yes.
That's really good.
Bin Furuya, the reporter, at the first sighting of Ultraman. It's very brief, very brief. Wow. We watched a movie.
Yeah.
A movie with like a real movie, not like last time. This one's a real movie.
Technically, it's
with
kind
a
of
plot.
a TV special, but yeah, it's like a.
That's it. It definitely.
It's a long TV special. It's 2 hours.
It's got eye catches though for TV.
Yeah.
For commercial breaks. So this is like a TV movie.
It's also like a drama and not like a superhero thing, which is like different from like basically most of the things we watched.
Yes. And it's about how Akio Jissoji was right about everything, and all his opponents admitted defeat to him.
True.
And also how he was the best one to work on Ultraman, which is factually correct.
That is factually correct, but this movie also asserts that also because Akio Jissoji is the guy who is the only guy on Ultraman who did a good job, that means that he must have invented the name Ultraman and the sound effect Shuwatch. And I'm like, okay.
And also acts as though he paved the vision of the future.
Yes.
That, like, they're all trusted in him. that extremely didn't happen.
Instead of getting sent away in like early Ultraseven because he was too rebellious.
On that note,
yes, would you like to tell us what this movie is?
Well,
how
first
it came
I'd
about?
like to say, maybe I'll loop around back to after we actually talk about the thing. But somehow in the time we've been gone, someone leaked online an HD version of the banned episode of Ultraseven, so you now can actually watch
yes,
good
that's
quality.
True.
All we need now is a leaked recipe for that cake, and we got the whole package.
I rewatched the episode yesterday with the good video, so we'll talk about it after the podcast, after we've done the the actual thing we're here for. But for now,
so Mal, we've got some backstory on this movie.
Yes.
What's it called? The Men Who Made Ultraman.
Yeah, well, hold on. What's the full title?
The full title involves the title of Jissoji's autobiography.
Yes.
Biography? How do you pronounce it? How do you say words? Biography. There we go.
I like biography.
Yeah, it's a biography.
It's like a living graph.
Like a biopic.
Look at this
as
graph.
opposed to a biopic.
Moonship in a Forest of Stars.
There we go.
Which is the thing that definitely makes sense. even if they try and explain it in the movie to people who are like, what the fuck are they talking about? Yeah, production. Anyway, the year is 1989, and it has been 5 years since Ultraman's story came out, so we took a bit of a big jump through the 80s.
Holy shit.
It's been a minute.
Yeah. The 80s are almost over.
Yeah. We're already finished that season. Yeah, Ultraman was not a good spot in the 80s, let me tell you. First of all, important historical milestone. January 7th, 1989, Hirohito, aka the Showa Emperor, dies, and his son Akihito assumes the throne, so we are now in the Heisei era. Showa is dead. We have not heard from Jissoji in a while since he last worked on a single episode of Return of Ultraman. He actually wrote an unproduced episode for Taro that didn't get made, called Monsters Unforeseeable, Kneeling Before the Rising Sun. And a draft of the script was released in June 1984 in a magazine. The plot seems to be about an alien is infiltrating Earth and using religious landmarks to kidnap humans who go there to wish to be whisked away, and they whisk them away.
I see.
And they go to the Buddha statue. Zat goes to investigate the disturbances at the Buddha statue in Kamakura. And then Taro and the alien fight, but then Taro can't beat the alien, so the actual Buddha shows up in anger and kills the alien by dragging him into the sea.
Excellent.
Oh.
Naturally. He's such a visionary, this is Soji. Anyway, he's probably been trying to get that Ultra Q movie off the ground. It's coming out it's coming out 99? No, not 99.
Okay.
I think it's coming 1990, so like the next year after this one. So it's like probably in production at the moment.
Nice.
We'll get to that in a bit, but obviously he did like Silver Mask and various films like the erotic Buddhist trilogy and also a baseball documentary. Anyway, in 1987, Jissoji published an autobiography called Moonship in a Forest of Stars, which serves as the basis of this drama we watched for today, which, it's in the subtitle. It seems like much of this production, the book was maybe a blending of fact and fiction, at least according to a single sentence on Japanese Wikipedia. However, just for this movie, Jissoji himself actually only had a supervisory role. A different director was involved.
Yeah. Is this the movie where the director is one of the guys in the movie, and he's depicted himself as sucking, or is that a different Ultraman thing? I remember us talking about ages ago.
It might be a different Ultraman thing. I'm not sure.
Okay.
One of the main movers of this project was Yuzo Higuchi, a producer at TBS who directed and wrote a few episodes of Ultraman 66. Specifically, he wrote the Hydra episode, the car crashes, the Wu episode, the Dumb Plant in a Suit episode, and the episode where Fuji's useless with the poison gas. So all favorites.
You mean the episode with the poison gas? You didn't need to specify that's every Ultraman.
Well,
episode,
I just need to highlight particularly. It was the episode where like Fuji and the kid whose name I forget went to go take care of something, and Fuji specifically was useless while the kid actually did something.
That's really. I truly don't remember this.
I only remember it because of one, that thing happening, and two, the episode starts with like a kid bringing a bunch of dead birds to school.
Oh, I see. Oh, yes. Yes.
Classic.
That was, yeah.
It was otherwise an unremarkable episode because I think the kaiju was like also just like a reskin of another one, so it was
that episode was a touchstone for a minute. It was simply because there's a scene where the kid brings up the dead birds and the adults are like, "Young man, did you kill all these birds?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Ah."
Anyway, Higuchi moved from TBS to a different company called Office Henmei, and while he was there, he pitched the idea to adapt the biography as a drama because he was just really enthusiastic about that for some reason. He was just like, "Yeah, I want to do this." This ended up being a collaborative project between Tsuburaya, Office Henmei, and also Kinoshita Productions, which is where Toshiro Iijima was working at the time, which is, I guess, how they were brought into it. I assume it's because Toshiro Iijima was involved. So, also because the bubble economy was happening, and this thing actually got a pretty decent budget.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
you can tell because they're filming a bunch of fucking Toku scenes for real.
I have a suspicion.
Yeah,
that they look a little bit better than it actually looked when they were making the damn thing, but we can talk about that.
Occasionally they show like the original show, and then they show like them filming the show, and it's an interesting sort of comparison between like they are deliberately depicting an older style of Toku where like because Ultraman, they don't make Ultraman like this anymore necessarily. Well, they don't make Ultraman at all anymore. But it's still, it's still the 80s, and they have come a long way.
Yeah. As for, let's see, the crew, the director is Takemichi Yamada, who doesn't have a big resume, and it seems to be his only collaboration with Tsuburaya. I think I saw he had like maybe 3 other things he directed, and I'm like, damn, there's like nothing. Writer is Mamoru Sasaki. Planning
who is the Jissoji guy from Ultraman 66. He's the script writer.
That does make sense. That is track.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Planning, Toshiro Iijima, Minoru Henmi, Yuzo Higuchi, and Noboru Tsuburaya. Producer, Kazuho Mitsuda. And various special effects roles were Masao Nakabori, Jun Oki, who we remember is the special effects guy for many Jissoji stuff, so makes sense he's here. Koichi Kimura, and perhaps a first for us in the timeline for Ultraman stuff, Shinji Higuchi.
I see.
Who got a start in special effects working as assistant in 1984's Return of Godzilla, but he would go on to have a lead role as the special effects director of the Heisei Ganbare trilogy, and also a lead role at Gainax, which is also why he's one of the guys heavily involved with Anno on the Shin Godzilla Ultraman stuff. So he's going to be important down the road.
Yeah.
The cast, I'm not going to go through everyone because there's a whole bunch of stuff, but there's extremely a case of like these are supposed to be real people, but we also did not give them the real names. Cleverly
Except
them.
Eiji. Eiji gets his real name.
Well, yeah. Also, he's dead, so maybe it's okay.
Okay.
Presumably, a bunch of the people who are depicted here are like still alive. We got Heiji Kira, who is supposed to be Akio Jissoji, played by Hiroshi Mikami.
I sort of picked this. I was like, oh, who's Heiji Kira? I've never heard of this guy, and then I looked him up and I was like, this guy. I don't think this guy's. Oh, this is Jissoji. I understand.
And then
now.
the plot of the movie happens, and you're like, oh, it's Jissoji.
I see. He's doing the Seibozu episode. I understand.
We got Noriko Takura, who is a real life counterpart as Noriko Shishikura, played by Kaho Minami. Shishikura seems to have been maybe like an unsung hero we never really got to talk about because she's like main thing was being a script supervisor for a number of 60s Tsuburaya stuff.
This is like the classic Carrie Fisher thing is that she was way more involved in Hollywood than like Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill ever were necessarily, just like in the background editing scripts.
Or like the thing about like how half of original Star Wars was George Lucas's wife.
Oh yeah.
Or even like Sylvia Anderson, etc.
Oh yes,
and she will be producer on the Ultra Q movie, and also apparently Toshitsugu Suzuki's wife. So that's interesting. Eiji Tsuburaya is played by Ko Nishimura. Ichiro Tsuburaya, who is very obviously supposed to be Hajime. Spoilers: the kanji for Hajime has the Ichi in it, so I picked that one immediately. Yuji Miyake. Tetsuo Miyagi is supposed to be Tetsuo Kinjo, played by Ryochi Yamaguchi. We have the guy Hiromi Izawa, who's played by Toshihiro Iijima. No, stupid. Hiromi Izawa is Toshihiro Iijima in real life, played by Junichi Ishida. This might be a problem, putting like 3 different names.
Yeah.
We got Takada, who's like, I think the special effects director guy. He's a real life counterpart as Koichi Kano. He's played by Yasuo Daichi. Of course, we have the kaiju designer Akeda, who, as we discussed before, is really Toru Narita as Susumu Kurobe.
I think it was when they said that the kaiju designer was called Ikeda was when I was like, oh, these aren't real names. Because that's Toru. I know that's Toru Narita.
Yeah. And then you have like actual Ultraman being like, damn, I like Redman though.
Yeah.
As for like the actual portrayal of Hayata's actor, we have Susumu Kurokawa, who played in place of actual Susumu Kurobe, played by Hiroshi Tsuburaya, the third son of Hajime, and someone.
Okay.
And someone we will see as an actor in future Ultraman works in the 90s. But also at this point, he's also already played Dai Sawamura, the protagonist of Space Sheriff Shider in 1985. So he's an actor guy. He's established. And already in the Toga space, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Working for the rifles. Tisk tisk.
Yeah.
He's like, well, fucking the old man's house ain't doing anything. You gotta find work somewhere.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't like people calling me a nepo baby.
Oh, maybe he had a chip on his shoulder.
I'm getting a job at the other company. Dad, I always thought Ultraman sucked.
Shider is a cool suit. I don't know if you've seen it.
Like the guy from Jaws?
No, that's the hot dogs.
Okay. I have not seen the Shider suit.
Yeah,
I don't think I have either.
Yeah, there you go.
How do I spell this? Oh, it's posted. Ooh, this is a cool robot. That's a robot.
Yeah, Metal Heroes has that aesthetic going on. It's like really shiny and greebly as like its defining characteristic.
That's a robot and a cowgirl sidekick. That's really funny.
I feel like this image I've chosen may have had that girl photoshopped on. She doesn't look like she belongs in that image.
She doesn't look real.
She doesn't have a shadow.
That does look like a Photoshop.
Oh, she doesn't have... That is right. She doesn't have a shadow.
You know what? This is funny in its own way.
Anyway.
Hiromi Momoe, who's supposed to be her... Sakurai. That's her name. The actress. Is played by Akio Jissoji, Akio's daughter in one of her first roles, so she would go on to continue having an acting career after this.
More nepo babies.
And then we have Oshima, who's in the role of Bin Furuya as the suit actor for Ultraman, played by Masaki Kiyomoto. He would primarily go on to be like a musician, like have a big music career. They apparently made appearances here and there in different things. And he was apparently inspired to get into acting after meeting Hayata and Dan's actors. I don't see it for the first of them, but whatever, do you to do.
I see.
Japanese dub voice. He's also the Japanese dub voice of Ultraman Great, and he also sang the OP for the Japanese. He sang the Japanese OP for that. So hey, that's a thing coming up soon. So that's fun.
That is coming up soon.
They aired this alongside Making of Ultraman documentary on March 21st, 1989 on TBS. I thought they were diverse. They keep going back to the X.
Okay. So wait. So there's a Making of documentary, and then there's the docudrama at the same time.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where like I watched this myself, so I'll talk about it again after we finish.
Okay.
It's an additional 15 minutes, so I didn't require anyone else to watch it but me. But it is like extremely like here's like an actual making of thing that is also including snippets of footage of the drama as like a teaser, like those things where it's like promotional thing. Other dramas. There's a bunch of other dramas that they were trying out at the time. Super Eye, I mean. And also in the years following it, since it seems that Super Eye was trying to appeal to the grown-ups who grew up watching Ultraman as well as, like, the kids.
Yeah.
Because, it's, we're about to reach the 90s. The kids who watched OG Ultraman are dads now. And some moms.
The nostalgia sort of jingling keys in this movie is kind of, like, intersects with the actual plot of the movie in, like a really absurd way.
Yeah.
So like I say, Akio Jissoji invents the Shuwatch because this is a movie about Akio Jissoji. and also Ultraman, we cannot treat Ultraman as anything other than the most important TV show ever made.
Yeah.
All those kids really did play and lift up the spoons outside of his window.
Yeah, outside of specifically Akio Jissoji's window. While Eiji Tsuburaya was there for like a whole week making him
food.
Yeah, those Eiji Tsuburaya and those 4 kids waited for Akio Jissoji to come home before saying their lines.
Anyway, here are some of the dramas that have been going on that they've been making that are also not translated.
Okay.
Fly in the Sea Breeze Ultraman, which is made in August 1988, and so therefore it's kind of like the first of these. It's a story about a student/surfer who works part-time as Ultraman in a kid's stage show, but at the moment his love interest is in danger, he has to don the costume to go save her. As far as I can now tell, no videos of this has been uploaded anywhere, so basically it only exists because Japanese sites say it exists, and I have no idea what this scene is. This seems like a fever dream.
In what world is your love interest in danger and you go, I need to get into that stage play soon. I need to know what circumstances lead.
Now you may be drowning. Wait.
I don't have
Hold on.
I don't have the surfer suit.
Just a minute.
I have no other choice but to pull on the Ultraman one.
Maybe he's already dressed in the suit for the performance.
Yeah. Then we have Superhuman Detective.
That sounds more sane.
We have a Superhuman Detective Shuwatch, which, as we know, is a sound effect Akio Jissoji invented. Released in March 1990. It's a comedic story about a bumbling detective who solves cases using items given to him by Ultraman. It was actually aired as an episode of a series called Dramatic 22, which was apparently a TV drama anthology series that aired a new standalone drama in the same 2-hour time slot each week from 1989 to 1991. On TBS.
I think this one sounds better than the Surfer one.
Yeah. By a lot. It's also the one which I also thought was lost media, but then I found on YouTube the other week. I was like, oh, okay, it's just here. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Is it in English?
No. None of these are translated, otherwise we would be watching them.
That makes sense.
That's why I'm bringing it up here. These next two have been ripped and put on the cat site by a really smart and cool and attractive person. You should thank her very much.
I wonder who this could be.
Anyway, the first one is the Ultraseven I Loved, which is released in February 1993 in 2 parts, each 90 minutes. Written by Shinichi Ishikawa and about the production of Ultraseven, with a particular focus as Anne as more of the POV character. Or Anne's actress, I should say. Much like the thing we watched today, it's maybe a blend of fact and fiction. You'll recall is this drama that is the source of the myth that Subject Sir Erroneous put on the Ultraman wiki.
Oh, right.
Then we have The Man Who Wanted to Be Ultraman in October 1993. A thing that was released on VHS only. And so a certain someone specifically ripped it for all of you. Written by Mamoru Sasaki. This one seems to be completely made up. It's just a drama about like fictionalizing the production process. In this, the plot is that Tsuburaya is making a new Ultraman movie, and the upper management are calling for the use of CGI, which results in veteran special effects guys being removed from the project. And the protagonist is a veteran puppeteer and suit actor Asami, who ends up working part time as an Ultraman for amusement park after being laid off, and I guess the story progressing from there as presumably as he saves the day or something. And then we have we also have Ultraman vs. Kamen Rider, released in July 1993. This was a collaboration between Toei and Tsuburaya to commemorate the anniversaries of both franchises. This one was a bit more of a documentary / retrospective with a series of interviews, but also there was an 8-minute action scene filmed featuring the 2 heroes teaming up, and is also the only part of this TV special that has been subbed. As you can imagine.
Yes.
Other than that, I think there hasn't been much in the way of similar productions. Like in the aughts, there's like a couple of documentaries about the women of the Ultra series, I guess, which I also ripped. But like they're just like bona fide documentaries. And then in
Okay.
the 2020s, there was a thing called the Two Ultramen, which is like specifically about the two Okinawan guys, Tori Narita and Shozo Uehara. That one is sub, so we'll be able to watch it eventually. So
I don't think you meant Toru Narita.
you're right. Tetsuo Kincho.
That's the one.
Yeah, there we go. So many names today. Sorry.
Yes, it's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll get to the two Ultramen like way down the road because it's like 2022 or something, or 2020 or something. It's really recent.
I do think it's interesting that's the period where like we start to see less of these, because a thought I had the entire time watching this is like halfway between wanting to be a biopic and wanting to be a DVD special feature thing.
Yeah.
And I almost wonder if like special features just maybe killed the drive for some of this sort of thing,
like,
if that makes sense.
Like I said, I think the Making of Ultraman, when I watch it, it also is like, oh, this is a DVD feature. This would have been a DVD feature.
That makes sense.
But yeah, we don't get as much of that stuff in the 2000s, but also presumably it's because they're making Ultraman then. So
They've actually got shit to do.
Yeah.
They're not just sitting around twiddling their thumbs.
like they have like the Ultra Hero and Legend, which is like, oh yeah, this one's about Anne, and then maybe another one about like the other women, which I guess includes
Fuji?
Well, Fuji. Well, it's both Yuriko and Fuji because they got the same actress.
Yeah.
But also
the Minami.
Minami, yes, she's also there.
Tsuburaya making a documentary about Minami in the 80s, like, and then she left on really good terms.
Somehow they're able to bring her back in the 2000s, but she's like, yeah, it's cool. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Anyway, contemporary. A lot happens in 5 years. It can happen if you can imagine. Media has progressed a bit since 1984.
Star Wars is finished.
Well, yes, but we already talked about that with Return of the Jedi. But
oh yeah, I'm stupid. Forget about no. I'm stupid.
The second Heisei Godzilla movie versus Biollante is out this year. Top that, Toei tried their hand at TV once again in light of the success of Super Sentai with Denno Keisatsu Cybercop airing from 1988 to 1989, and that's a show I want to watch someday. Toei is still putting out their usual Sentai. The Asterix Forever franchise has its 13th season Turbo Ranger. Metal Heroes has its 8th season Mobile Cop Japan, which is very blatantly ripping off RoboCop. Kamen Rider is in the middle/tail end of a brief revival, as Kamen Rider Black began airing in October 1987, and we followed up with by the sequel series RX, which would seemingly put the franchise back into the ground in Selkuga, at least on TV.
I really need to watch those.
I'm in the middle of Black. It's pretty nifty. In the time since, the Fushigi comedy series transitioned away from a mascot-based series to a kid detective show for exactly 2 seasons, and now it is a Magical Girl thing, which it would be for the rest of its run. The current season this year is Magical Chinese Girl Pai Pai, and a sequel Ipan Mai, both within the same year, because I think they're both collectively 50 episodes. I don't remember the production stuff, but it's weird from remember researching months back. Anyway, anime. You know what is out this year?
1989.
Char's Counterattack.
Mobile Suit Gundam 0080 War in the Pocket, because Zeta and Zebel Zeta and Char's Counterattack have all happened off screen.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, Char's Counterattack's 88.
Oh, true.
When we weren't looking, Gundam is now back as the big forever franchise. Also, Sunrise put the 5-star Stories movie.
Nice.
And I remember last time when we talked about Urusei Yatsura?
Yes.
Well, guess what's starting this year? It's Ranma 1/2 starts this year. Cool. Also, the anime adaptation of Dragon Ball Z starts this year.
Oh shit.
And also Dead Zone.
Damn.
Yes.
This is also the year of both Pat Labor the movie and the TV series starting.
Oh yeah, Pat Labor the fucking movie.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Also Kiki's Delivery Service.
Yeah. It's alright. That's a rude movie to make.
On the...
Because, like, because like Grave of the Fireflies, Takahata makes Grave of the Fireflies, and then Miyazaki immediately after makes Kiki's Delivery Service, and it's like, actually, if my protagonist was a child stuck out on her own just trying to make it work, she'd get a job. And I'm just like, that's profoundly rude, Miyazaki. Thank you very much.
I mean, he just seems like an unpleasant and awful guy.
Yeah, basically.
Get along with my friend's ex-girlfriend.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yes. Yeah, he would.
Simply thought that the Grave of the Fireflies children were too whiny to enjoy the movie.
I'm pretty sure I listened to the podcast where you said that in Kyoto, which is funny.
Anyway, I interrupted you.
Some Western TV and film productions. We got Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Yes.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Back to the Future 2. Ghostbusters 2. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Let's go!
The first Tim Burton's Batman.
Damn.
The Little Mermaid. Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. And also Season 3 of TNG, because also TNG started in the time since.
Hell yeah.
Is Final Frontier also the God one?
Sorry, what?
Isn't there a Star Trek movie where they're like looking for God or some shit?
I think that might be Final Frontier.
I don't know shit about Star Trek. I know there's a God
one. There's multiple angles. Here's the thing. You are correct. There is a God one, but like I can't remember which one it is. But also, I think you could theoretically say that there are two of them that are about, and it's just that one of them is that there's actually God involved, and then one of them is it's not God. Anyway,
small anecdote. One Let's Player for a long time got like Christmas gifts being sent to him by fans for like Advent Christmas stuff, and one year someone sent him like 25 DVDs that you open one each day, and every single one was a copy of Star Trek V.
That's really good.
Also, this is the final season of the 7th Doctor this year.
Wow, we skipped through some fucking doctors. Let me
5 years is a lot of time.
7th Doctor. Who's the 7th Doctor? Oh, this guy. People love this guy. I think I've seen like one thing of his. But he's the last guy before the movie, before the show is axed forever.
Yeah, forever.
And then it, comes back.
What number are we on? For like the Doctor?
It's debatable now.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's gotten stupid.
Oh, okay. I didn't expect this to be an answer.
It's gotten debate. Russell T Davies made the insane decision that when the first Black Doctor happened, he actually created. He did a regeneration where the David Tennant Doctor gets to continue, and so as the Black Doctor started, you had people asking the question, semi-understandably, so is the Black Doctor really the Doctor? And it's like, oh no,
oh, this is
the worst thing you could do.
I was actually talking about the way that season ends.
Listen, there's been lots of really stupid shit going on. They have been revealing that there's been more and less Doctors than you'd expect for like 10 years at this point. When was the Three Doctors special with John Hurt? John Hurt, Doctor Who.
Why would John hurt him like that?
Why would John hurt him like that? In 2013, over 10 years since they invented a new doctor, and just slotted him into the
War
timeline.
Doctor.
He's the doctor that fought in the war. He was gonna be Christopher Eccleston, and Christopher Eccleston went, no, I'm never coming back. I hate all of you. Although it wasn't Russell, it was Stephen Moffat at the time. And
that guy who writes really good stuff, right?
Here's the thing. Stephen Moffat, I don't really rate Stephen Moffat, but I also think Christopher Eccleston doesn't have like a vendetta against him. He thinks Stephen Moffat is okay by Christopher Eccleston books, and I'm not going to argue with the man. As much as I have I'm like Stephen Moffat fucking. It's the really funny thing about Stephen Moffat and Russell T Davies is that Russell T Davies is the only guy left who still thinks Stephen Moffat's got it. It is what it is.
Yes, what it is. Anyway,
they will be both as the Britain sinks, as the glaciers melt. And two old men are washed out of the BBC by a tidal wave, and they're clinging to driftwood. And one of them will say to the other, "Hey, remember when you made it, like when dust were piranhas? When you did that, that was really cool. I like that a lot." And Stephen will be like, "I hate you, Russell." Anyway,
literature. Your friend and mine, Mr. Simmons, puts out Hyperion this year. Isaac Asimov is somehow still alive and puts out Nemesis.
Star Trek Nemesis by Isaac Asimov.
So true.
I was thinking of the shmup.
We remain on brand.
Yeah.
And there's also the Doom City by the Strugatsky brothers, who wrote Roadside Picnic.
Uh-huh.
And finally, a lot more packed than in previous sessions. The Gaming Corner has expanded a fair bit.
Video games have happened.
Because the 16-bit consoles are already here, because we have the PC Engine in 1987, and the CD-ROM the following year as an add-on. Meanwhile, the Genesis/Mega Drive was released in 1988, so both would enter the console market in American. They'd enter the American console market in 1989 at the same year.
Mm-hmm.
89 was also the launch of the Game Boy, complete with Tetris, which also now exists, and some major releases. As far as individual games go, we got Super Mario Bros. 3 and also the Power Glove, Phantasy Star 2, the American release of Mega Man 2, Mother 1. The American release of Dragon Quest 1, but also the original trilogy has already happened, by the way. Also Final Fantasy 1 and 2 have also already happened, by the way. And also the first two Zelda games has also already happened, by the way.
I was just checking because I was like, I bet there's already like a bunch of Ys games. There's already been...
Yeah, this year
Ys
is also Ys 3 and the first Legend of Heroes game. And also the first RTS game, Herzog Zwei.
Yeah.
And also Castlevania 3.
Now here's the thing. And I have another objection to Herzog Zwei. When does Populous come out?
I will also add, in case you didn't hear, Castlevania 3 is also out.
Populous is also 1989, but in March, which feels, I don't know, more RTS than Herzog. Anyway.
Yeah. So video games are happening.
They are.
I'm pretty sure the first... Hold on, wait. Street Fighter 1. When is Street Fighter 1? 1987, so yeah, Street Fighter already also exists. But not actually, because...
Not in a way people care about yet.
Yeah. But still,
it's coming.
A lot happened in 5 years.
Yeah. Wow.
One of my things in our bonus section will be a game also released in 1989. So look forward to that. Anyway.
Okay.
I'm done. I also won't have to do this next time because next time is also in 1989. So.
I'm just checking. Oh, no, that's later. Okay. Sick. Well, should we just briefly just try to broadly summarize this movie don't have a summary, but
Akio Jissoji is down on his luck and is too stylish for mainstream Japanese TV industry.
Absolutely,
He does
their
things
brains are
like-
closed.
And especially those stick in the muds at TBS.
Yeah.
Yes.
He does things like film a dramatic ending where it starts snowing even though it's the middle of summer.
And
People don't
everyone's-
like it when you do things like that.
They really don't. They make a big deal
People
out of it.
aren't ready.
Akio Jissoji... Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, you go for it.
Akio Jissoji is down on his luck and gets invited to go work at Tsuburaya Productions, which she is ecstatic about. The actress
We should point out it's actually Heiji Kira, who is a different guy and not Akio Jissoji.
I'm just going to be saying Jissoji this whole time, let me tell you.
But we do have to say it. Because everyone calls him Hei-chan.
Legally.
Yeah, okay. Hei-chan is...
No, it's Jissoji.
I'm just going to go with Jissoji. Jissoji is down on his luck and gets invited to work at Tsuburaya Productions, which he's really excited about. He also can't wait to meet his hero, Eiji Tsuburaya. The actress he seemingly is dating or somehow involved with at this time is not impressed and demands that he get out of her car.
Yeah.
He meets a bunch of wacky fellow talented creators, including one who amusingly suggests that what if Ultraman was two people who merged together, and everyone tells that guy to shut the fuck up.
It is good. Not quite my favorite quote from this movie, which I feel like we will all point out, but yeah, it's good.
They are currently working on the follow-up to Ultra Q, the phenomenon with children that everyone loves.
Mm-hmm.
Eiji Tsuburaya says something about how the thing about working on Tokusatsu is it's about making dreams come true. And
Yeah, like
making
that episode
children's
of
dreams come true.
Omega we watched.
Yeah, our arc was also all about this in a way.
Yeah, but we like the Omega.
Yeah, true. What else happened? They work on making a bunch of Ultraman stuff. It takes off.
And eventually, Jissoji gets to make his big break with specifically 2 episodes, and curiously no others that he was involved in real life.
Yeah. Jissoji attempts to make Ultraman not just an invincible, flawless hero, to which other people involved on the Ultraman production team tell him to get the fuck out, and you can't do that. And no children wants to no children want to feel bad for the kaiju. They have come to turn on the television every night to see Ultraman beat the shit out of an evil monster that's rampaging and blowing up buildings. And B, Ultraman can't have any flaws. He's supposed to be cool and perfect. So you can't do anything silly like have him accidentally hold up a spoon instead of a beta capsule. However, Big Cock Jissoji turns out to be completely right on all fronts. And
not just completely right, demonstrably completely right to the point that everyone like personally apologizes to him.
Yeah, and Eiji Tsuburaya cooks him food and
to tell
tells him how
he
great
is.
his episode was.
And he's like, you know, fake Jissoji, really, you're the son that I never had.
There's also a plot where he is going out at night and pseudo-dating a woman who works on the production.
Yeah, the script supervisor.
Yeah, the script supervisor who
married Suzuki.
Yeah, well, in this they just say, "Oh, I have a husband." Never really quite say who.
Who's she married to again?
Toshitsu Suzuki in real life.
Okay. Yes.
Anyways, things get kind of fraught between them, and she ends up leaving to work at an independent production. And he or she leaves him a letter apologizing about like, hey, I'm sorry I was overly flirtatious with you. Doesn't quite say it like that, but
we'll talk about that scene because there's an implied thing in that scene where I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no, I had the same thing. Jissoji gets cast out, but then actually I can't remember the order. At some point
he gets cast out by the company, but then basically Eiji cooks to his house to personally bring him back. And then everyone apologized to him because of the kids playing with the spoons outside of his window.
And also at some point during this, people come to his house with a monster costume in the middle of the night. You should work on the show in secret.
Yeah, it was Hajime at some point who hires him back a little bit.
Would you? There's one of the episodes that Hajime Tsuburaya directed was secretly directed by Akio Jissoji, actually.
Yeah, and they make the landlady faint because they're walking around at night with a creepy monster costume
with Wu specifically.
Yeah, honestly, not that creepy, but no, I can see how if you have heightened, if you're walking around the middle of the night, maybe heightened a little bit.
Yeah.
Seeing that might freak you out a little bit. What else happens? A guy starts on fire, they put him out.
Yeah, but there's a bunch of mishaps of production as we get to see some aspects of production, but like in a kind of fictionalized way.
Skydon is a beefy boy who is very hard to lift.
At this point, should we transition from summary to actually discussing?
Yeah, the very final thing is we get this meetup between the actress who dumped him. And she's like, I've come to actually respect your work. And she's like, you must think I'm some kind of big-headed actor who just values, looks down on you. And he's like, no, not at all. We're both doing, and he's saying, we're both working in the same virtuous industry, television. That's where drama and toku can sit side by side.
I mean,
it's not just that.
It is kind of like bringing in that thing of like in the 60s television was the blue ocean as opposed to like the shackles of the kind of languishing film industry, but obviously in the 80s this is really outdated as a concept because now television is also old.
I also think there's a very important note here where part of her being won over by his decision is like, oh, I see you and you're in the mud and like you're fully realized here, unlike that stuffy drama work that you were doing before.
Yeah.
Like this is where your soul can soar, basically. Like she's happy he found his place, and is like validating him for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it closes with the script supervisor being like, "Oh, I divorced my husband. Actually, you must think I'm really annoying, huh?"
I think he divorced her specifically.
Yeah, he divorced her because he was sick and tired of her running around
doing indie movies.
Doing indie movies and away from home. And then they embrace and then it cuts the credits.
Yeah.
And it snows.
The couple embrace and then they part, but in the real world it doesn't snow.
Oh, it doesn't snow, yeah.
Because, the real world isn't poetic like that.
Yeah.
And
then he runs away from Red King in the credits or something.
Yes. So yeah, this movie is I found this movie very interesting. There's a lot happening here, just in terms of like the weird kind of reverence that it has for Ultraman mixed with trying to do this plot about the rebel on the team who was rebelling against what Ultraman was at the time.
The rebel who was rebelling against what Ultraman was, but also was completely accepted by the man who is like the father of Ultraman.
Yeah, there's a real sort of like, Jissoji's like internal like rebellion. The differences between the creative differences are sort of flattened out into like who is like him actually being like the true heir to Eiji Tsuburaya's creative spirit. Because like the movie starts with like when he gets to Tsuburaya Productions, AG is like, the people are trying to insist, AG, we want you in on the meeting, and AG's like, no.
He's totally overrated about it.
The youth have to surpass the old, and you can't be relying on me forever. And that's the signal for fake Jissoji to do the real shit. And there is like, I mean, first of all these differences have been heavily depoliticized. And it is all now about like this sort of this the
soul of Ultraman.
The soul of Ultraman, and these broad ideas of the kaiju has heart, and the broad ideas of Ultraman isn't perfect, as opposed to like sort of like the kind of the sort of like, underlying.
If I can springboard off that, like it's notable, I think that's like, the episodes they chose to focus on are Sibozu and Skydon, and also Jamila does not appear in this movie at all.
Yeah, despite the fact that Jamila kind of thematically serves a similar thing as the Sibozu episode does. However, Jamila is sort of, to some extent, inseparable from the kind of political feelings that Jissoji puts into his work.
Which is also funny, because like, one thing that shows up in the making of documentary is they go through all the kaiju, and they mention, Jamila, this is one of Jissoji's most popular episodes. Just move past it.
Yeah. And it's, obviously we get like, it's sort of weird that sometimes this movie gestures to the history, right? Like, we immediately open, like, the first scene of like special effects, the first Toku scene is Eiji Tsuburaya filming like World War II planes.
Yes. But it's not commented on that they're World War II planes.
Yeah, immediately centers that where what the roots of Ultraman is. But
also worth noting that this is during the American occupation, so I don't know if they would have allowed that. Actually, maybe the occupation would have ended already, but
who knows?
It is telling that
it's sort of interesting that AG in order to it's a weird kind of depiction of Jissoji as like the guy who is actually like the spirit of Ultraman, when I would say that Jissoji, as part of, he sticks around for Ultraman obviously, but I would say he has a lot of criticism of Ultraman, of the show Ultraman. I don't know, like, anyway,
I think this is a very early like part of the cycle that we have continually commented on and seen, where what Ultraman is gets to be cherry picked after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of those episodes being the exception, in many ways, according to this, it's what defines that whole show.
Mm-hmm.
You don't actually get a very good sense watching this what the average Ultraman episode is like.
Yeah,
that's true.
It is funny for us because in a way they do define Ultraman for us, because those are the best episodes and the rest are mid and fascist.
It's also makes because we paid attention to who was making the show to some extent. It's weird that this movie is kind of like a dramatization of like, I already knew that. I didn't really need this explained to me. I almost don't actually need to have anyone tell me what the backstory of Ultraman is.
When we watched Ultraman, we talked about the drama around the spoon scene.
We did do that. And it's sort of interesting that you can watch the show and get, I would say, like even just watching the show, not even investigating, like just so long as you check who directed this episode, who wrote this episode, I think you get maybe a clearer picture of the making of Ultraman than watching this docudrama about the making of Ultraman.
Now, here's a question worth considering, though.
Uh-huh.
Do we even know about the Spoon story if it doesn't get passed down into legend because of this docudrama?
Now, that's a very good question.
As well.
Yeah.
How much of what we've heard about Ultraman is shaped by the narratives that we see in this movie?
Yeah. Like we don't know who is telling stuff. Like, was Jissoji's autobiography the first instance to talk about the fallout of the Spoon?
Yeah, not to be the Ultraman podcast that brings up Gundam shit all the time, but I was reminded a lot of that. I don't know if either of you have read that manga that's like, oh, Tomino and friends making Gundam.
I haven't read it, but I was thinking of it.
Oh, is that the one where he's the super Chad with his jeans with the top button undone at all times?
Yes, and like that is another thing that is like, it's supposed to be like a funny manga that's like telling a very stylized and like fictionalized version.
I think I've maybe seen the panel where he's like coming in as a Gigachai being like, all right, here's my pitch for Ideon.
Yes, it's legendary.
It's the best part of that manga. But like I have already seen, and like it's been long enough I don't remember the details, but people talk about stuff from that manga as if it's actually what happened in real life, even when it's a fictionalized version of it.
I mean,
I have a feeling that's exactly what happened here as well.
I allude to it again in the history stuff, but it's also happened with the Ultraseven thing too.
Yeah.
So the sort of like what the fuck was I about to say? What's going on with my brain? Never mind.
Yeah, I think it's like self-mythologizing, like when the story of the making of the thing is told by the company who makes the thing, and therefore gets very selective of what they actually put and how they portray it. I also had the thought of like, I feel like sometimes the way Ultraman fans treat Ultraman is just like the cozy game of Toku. The cozy.
Lol.
And I feel like some ways that's kind of like what the image Tsuburaya wants to put, where like the episodes like Shibozu are meant to represent like the heart of what Ultraman is, even if it's like the exception and not the rule, but they try and like make more episodes like, you know, we have the episode of the time traveling kaiju in Omega, and alluding that to the mousetrap, and it's like, well, there's definitely like downstream of like Jissoji's influence, because Jissoji was also doing the Gavadon episode where it's like, oh yeah, we have like a little guy who made by kids who's not actually harming anyone, but he is like disrupting the economy by sleeping in the city, and therefore we have to kill him. And Ultraman beats up the kaiju while the kids are literally crying tears, and he eventually is like, well, I'm gonna put it into space where it's not an issue.
Yeah.
Is this not... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, you go.
I was just going to say, is this not just what we see time immemorial for everything nowadays of the pointed political critique gets defanged and then subsumed into the thing it's critiquing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like when Republicans talk about how great MLK was, but also how you wouldn't approve of any of these protests going on.
The specific reverence that this movie has for Ultraman as like the most important thing is like really funny put next to like the bits where it's like obviously a mess, like putting it together, and it's things like
and it's because it's that startup culture, it's that startup drive, the spirit.
The same reverence that casts all the older actors in smaller parts, which I find kind of delightful, is also the same reverence that is like, well, when they invented the Shuwatch, everyone was instantly like, oh, this is great. They instantly know that it's like important in the moment of invention, which is ridiculous.
You know what else was instantly great?
Yeah.
The Ultraman suit. It did not look like mashed potatoes at the beginning.
Yeah, this is what I'm going to say. It's the same reverence that refuses to recreate the awful original mask. When Ultraman is first shown to the public, his mask is lovely, and I was like, that's fake.
I think it's funny that the reveal Ultraman is literally they got a bunch of guys from the press being like, all right, we're having a press conference to reveal Ultraman and also the Boltons, and they're gonna fight in front of you, and not like whatever the birth of Ultraman was, which is the thing that we saw.
The other thing that immediately brought up Loch Ness as a kaiju.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think the it is what it is. I do think, that there are bits of this movie that I'm like, I think, like, first of all, the sequence in the middle where it's about the clash between Jissoji having like this creative idea and then the toku director Takada just filming like a regular toku destroying the city, I think is like a really good bit of just dramatic conflict between these two characters. I like the
bit where Jissoji comes to the studio at night to practice how to do a sad kaiju, and then the studio actor of the kaiju, who is also Arashi, independently does this and tries to prove his worth to Jissoji by doing it.
Yes.
By going to the zoo, which I love.
By going to the zoo.
I feel like that may have been like a story that we heard about, like, as someone doing, but also
feels real.
Because
it makes sense.
I feel like I remember that, but I also forget who it was, and I also feel like, is that another case of we wouldn't have known this if it wasn't in this documentary?
I mean, it makes sense. Like, if you're an actor taking your shit seriously and you're like, oh, I have to be a big dumb animal, like, you go to the zoo, be like, how do the animals move? I want to mimic that,
Easily the best quote in the movie comes from this little arc, which is when Akio Jissoji finds Takada, and he's like, oh, Takada, what's a good tokusatsu plot? And he goes, a kaiju appears? Well, that's all I can imagine. Yes. Surely you don't want to do something weird.
Yeah. That was good. I like the part at the start where they're like, Eiji's like, hey, get this kid some coffee, and then they're too poor to afford coffee, so you just get chili powder and water or something.
Yeah. Eiji as like the aging king looking for a successor is like just a good like little setup for this movie. It's sort of, because we know like the real, like the sort of we're kind of acquainted with like the future of Ultraman. It's sort of strange that the decision is that Jissoji is his heir, but it's like all right dramatically, like as
I feel bad for Hajime, who actually was his heir but also did die really quickly.
Yeah. He is dead by now, right?
Yeah, he died in like the middle of he died like in the middle of Ace's run, and that's why Noboru has been president since.
So I'm
and
like,
it still is president when this movie is being made. So, like he's involved.
I'm like, there's like,
and also Hajime's son is one of the actors in this movie.
Yes. Some of this some of the depiction of just Jissoji winning arguments from years ago is like so childish.
It's real. Oh, I came up with the comeback in the shower the later that night type shit.
It's great. It's if like you won, bro. You're a big. Sure, it's strange. It's sort of like if you're writing like your autobiography, I get being like, oh, this happened and like I was proven right. Maybe.
Here's the thing. Having watched the rest of Ultraman, I don't know that he did win.
He won for us.
I guess this is true.
He did win for us.
He won, yeah.
He did not get the cultural victory.
Maybe this is a movie for the real ones.
The thing that I was thinking of this entire thing was, do you remember way back when I first talked about like Jissoji and did like the roundup where we're like, oh, I guess he has like a unique style and we're still trying to figure it out. One of the parts of that was that he would get into it with the special effects team all the time because he was the one director that really believed like, I think the story, like the special effects should serve the story. I don't want the story to serve the special effects. And I was thinking about that a lot. But first of all, I actually feel like that element of this is not really touched on that much. I
feel like in some ways, like the Jissoji depicted here is a lot more meek than I expect the actual Jissoji to be.
Yeah, I have that feeling as well.
he's also much more conventionally attractive. I'm sorry, Akio Jissoji looks like a little freak.
Fuck, what was I good? No, so I was thinking about that special effects divide that whole time, because I do feel like long term, I think the special effects guys won, but I also think Jissoji touched the way that people think about kaiju and these, like, overall, like the sense of conflict in these stories in a way that kind of was irreversible. Like, once you break that egg like that, there's no putting the yolk back in. But I do think overall the special effects guys did kind of have the final say as more Ultraman was made.
I do think there was a...
Do you want to talk about the...
I think there was a fun bit in the beginning where, like, just Jissoji leaves to go to Tsuburaya, and he meets his coworker who's like, "Are you sure I can take you to Kyoto to do samurai stuff?" Which is funny knowing what happens to him in the middle of Ultraseven.
Yeah. It is really funny how much this movie is like, yeah, fuck you, TBS.
Yes. Despite also airing on TBS.
I'm keeping the kids.
Shouts to that guy's like, "I've made 63 shows for TBS, and this one was the most dog shit of them all. Get out of here."
Oh yeah, there was the guy who was like, "How'd you get the?
Do we want to talk about the?
How there's the guy who got the sound effect for Sibozu crying by like literally tormenting his baby and recording it?
Oh yeah,
yes.
It feels like a Family Guy cutaway gag.
Yeah, it really does. There's like a lot of this movie feels like this is not related to this. This is a terrible segue. A lot of this movie feels, obviously like just filmed play. The way that especially like there's this bit near the beginning where it's just Jissoji just sat in like the Tsuburaya office, and then like guys going out to a meeting, and other characters walking in, and I'm just like I'm watching a play right now.
Is it Brechtian?
And it's shut up.
Is this more or less Brechtian
it is not
than Suino-sora?
Less. This is not Brechtian. It's like a moment where it's the moment where I can't remember her name. She makes him the chili tea or whatever.
She's the love interest girl. That's all I remember.
Yeah, the love interest.
I guess
which brings us.
That's all I can remember.
Which brings us to the romance.
Yeah, I wanted. Do we want to talk about the scene where she's really drunk?
Oh, it's Noriko.
Puts her to bed.
Noriko. So yeah, this scene kind of. So first of all, I would say, generally across the movie, I'm sort of like, I think the romance is actually okay. I like broadly, I think it's like not like important. It's sort of like flavor additional to the movie, but I think it's like perfectly fine. And I think the end scene where they part ways at the end, and I was fully like, oh, they're gonna do the snow, and then they don't do the snow, and I'm like, oh, because real life isn't like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's all right. But there is one insane scene in the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
Where the implication is that she's faking being drunk as like bizarre attempted seduction.
See, I read that as she was drunk, but she was also trying to seduce him.
Me too.
And be like, oh, you could take advantage of me right now. But yeah, either way, it
also feels weird knowing these are technically both based on real people who are also not real people.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing where I'm like, this is like an act, is when he gets back from his walk and she's gone, and she's written a note for him, and he's not been gone. He's gone for a walk at night, and he comes back at night.
Oh, I thought I read, for some reason I thought it was the next morning. Okay,
I also thought it was next morning, but
maybe I was wrong.
Regardless,
the point is, there's just like this, and I don't know, I don't quite quite put a pin on what the movie thinks of Jissoji leaving in the moment. Like, if it's like, oh, you're being unmanly, you're being a coward or something, which, you know, I could maybe imagine from a movie from the 80s.
I did get the vibe that he was doing like the quote unquote honorable thing. So
that's kind of how I viewed it. Whereas like, oh, he okay, so there's two layers to this. One, I do think that they're like, oh, he's doing the honorable thing. Two, I think what they think is the honorable thing is, oh, she's married, so you can't.
Yes. It's sort of like it's the objection the sort of like the sin of this would be, oh, I'm having sex with a married woman, and not, bro, she's wasted.
Yeah, that was also kind of unfortunately what I think.
Yeah, I feel like my own view is like, it feels weird to just put a romance plot in. I have not read the autobiographies. I don't know if it's actually in there, but it does feel weird to have this weird romance plot in this thing, because it feels like like they put it in because that's what you do for a TV drama or a movie or something. And it feels kind of out of place, especially with like the fact that these are technically based on real people.
Real people fanfic discourse in 1989.
Yeah.
GG, those are real people.
What are you gonna say, Ryan?
So yeah, there's a lot that I'm, you know, by having these characters have fake names, I feel like they're like, oh, we can get away with loads. Like, we can get away with saying Jissoji directed this episode in secret that is credited under someone else's name. And I'm like, that's so rude.
They also didn't specify which episode, at least, but it is strange.
No. But then they've got, and then you've got here where it's like, I'd have to know if Jissoji wrote about this in his autobiography, which again wouldn't actually disprove that it's fictional, because like you said, it's, you know, the only note on that autobiography seems to be, yeah, it mixes fact and fiction.
Yeah, there isn't a separate Wikipedia page on Japanese Wiki for the autobiography. It's just like a single paragraph that's like 2 or 3 sentences maybe.
So yeah, I think this scene is like a certain type, is like a very trad mentality in terms of like Japanese men and women, and it's like, oh, and it's like this, I
and also Catholicism.
And also Catholicism, but it's just kind of like gross, don't like it. And it's sort of a, it's sort of like a, I don't know, like characterizing her as like finding a way to cheat on my husband without feeling bad about it, which is like, which is a lot of character to just add to her, but it's like I'm you know, it's an uncomfortable moment, and I'm like, I don't, you know, this is like these are real people. This is strange.
I feel this is, I guess, tangential to this point, so I don't want to stray too far, but I feel like the romance also would have hit better for me were it, I don't know if I would have brought the First Lady back to be literally just to show up to be like, man, I'm so proud of you, because it does. Yeah. It does feel like there are 2 central female characters in this, and both of them just are like, man, main character, you're just the coolest fucking guy. I was immediately primed for how this movie relates to women by it doing like, he's like, oh yeah, I got a job working in kids TV, and she's like, get out of my car, I don't like you anymore. I was like, okay.
Like, Toku is for losers. And he's like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I
get out.
Yeah. And the thing about the romance is it kind of represents his like parting with drama. You he used to do TV drama, and this is like the TV drama plot line, and at the end they go their separate ways, and he goes into Toku, and she goes off to do her own thing. But it's, I think other than it's weird because I don't think she has like all that much, like the Noriko doesn't have that much, except for that one scene that adds like the sort of melodrama character to her, and then we immediately just kind of move on, and she's like, I don't come to work anymore. And it's kind of weird. He kind of, because it's like, she kind of leaves all of that because of him, and he doesn't really like, there's no kind of like sitting with that really. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there is, but I do like the scene where she's describing working on the indie movies, and she's like, yeah, it's like it's rough. It's like I gotta do like 4 different jobs at the same time because this isn't a fucking studio. But yeah, it's
I think it's funny when the guy they couldn't figure out how to let down Ultraman.
Right.
Oh yeah.
There's some good like just scenes of them doing special effects stuff.
Like how they do the flying in the field kind of thing.
Yeah. I liked it when they showed like they were doing like 80s behind the scenes versions of doing 60s Ultraman special effects, which means yes, we're shooting 8 million fireworks at the kaiju. I wonder how they kept running out of money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was a neat thing that we saw.
Yeah, it's like something to chew on. It was nifty.
I'm glad we had like stuff out of it.
Yeah, it's it's an interesting. I had a perfectly fine time watching it, and I was like, this is like I would give this a 6 out of 10. But it's there's something to say.
I did have the thought. I didn't know if this needed to be 2 hours, but also at the same time, I do think, especially if you consider the time it came out, like we spent a lot of time just like showing how the sausage is made, and I bet at the time that was more novel than it perhaps is now.
Oh yeah.
So like I could see how that would play a little bit better a few decades ago than now. I'm just like, I knew all that,
This documentary is older now than Ultraman was at the time it came out.
Uh-huh.
Fuck.
Thank you.
I just need to share that.
I don't think
Toho girl image.
Yeah. Wow.
My friend made a similar post about that yesterday regarding Ocarina of Time 3DS versus the original.
Oh no, hang on, I need to look up how old Ocarina of Time 3DS is. Ocarina of Time 3D. 2011.
It's older than Ocarina of Time was when the 3DS version came out.
That's what she said. I was like, oh no. I know you're right, but also...
That's crazy.
My favorite version of this is still look at when James Rolfe made that first Angry Video Game Nerd Let's Talk About Retro Games video, and look at the release date of Castlevania in comparison to when he talked about it, and what we consider retro now versus how long ago what we consider retro came out.
Mm-hmm.
PS3 is retro, I hate to tell people.
The PS3...
You too can play the
Demon's Souls is retro.
Persona 5 was released on a retro console.
It was.
Yeah. Well, we done talking about Ultraman.
Nope, I got some bonus.
I think so.
Oh no, you got some bonus stuff. Yeah, go.
First of all, I was like, yeah, it's cool that we watched this, and we're probably the only Ultraman people makers content on the internet who talked about this. So that's fun.
Oh, actually, before we get too far away, I do want to. I don't know actually how relevant this was because I didn't feel like it impacted my experience. But I don't know if did you two watch the YouTube upload of this?
I could not. At the Internet Archive version was gone.
Okay.
So yeah.
I used I had a file saved already in advance. So.
Okay. There, and I don't know. I'm assuming there's only one set of subs for this.
No, I checked just to be sure, and yeah, the ones I had, which were I think originally from the Internet Archive, were also the same subs. These are just the ones.
Yeah, they're not perfect.
Yeah. Well, there was a comment on the YouTube upload that was these subs get a lot wrong, or something like that. Which I just wanted to make note of here in case anyone
that's a good point to make.
Is listening to this in the future, and who knows if there's. I don't think this would ever get another pass for subs, but
this is one of those things where it's unfortunately, it's what we got.
Unless Mill Creek is really squeezing the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. Anyway, so first of all, I end up watching the Making of Ultraman. I had to watch it on YouTube because there's nowhere else where it is. It's got a bunch of interview stuff. Interviewees include Kazuo Mitsuda, Jun Oki, Toshiro Iijima, Noriaki Iwasa, I think, for a single moment. Akio Jissoji, Koichi Takano, who seems to talk about the thing depicted in the drama of there was differences of opinions between directors and special effects directors. Perhaps speaking from experience in that case. And Minoru Nakano. One of there was an unintentional funny moment where the narrator of the documentary is we will have Jissoji explain the story of the recreated spoon scene from the drama, and then Jissoji's it's hard to explain without context. I immediately cuts to Koichi Takano as he said something.
Lol.
It's just this reminds me of the infamous Eraser is my most spiritual film thing. He does elaborate on it a bit later, but I think in the moment it was just really funny. Just is that all you have to say? There's we get a closet full of different copies of the Ultra suits. So apparently there are multiples of them. There's some stuff here's how we make an kaiju suit. There's some stuff actual stuff in order to make the explosions more prominent, we spread dust around the set. So it gets a bit more to the actual here's the how it's made version of it, in a way that the drama doesn't, because it's a drama. So I think it's if you're more interested in some of the nitty gritty details, it's worth checking out. It's also it's a bunch of other. It's not all that. It's a bunch of other padding stuff too, because it's a promotional thing too. But we get the last line of the thing is Heiji's actor being yeah, it's so cool getting to play Akio Jissoji. And the final thing is, for whatever reason, I've linked the timestamp version here. It's a thing of a bunch of kaiju dancing intimidatingly at Ultraman in a field, and Ultraman just has to shadowbox them.
I see. I'm watching this now. What is this soundtrack?
I don't know what the music is. I am so fascinated by it. I feel these suits are from the Ultra Fight closet, because they look kind of scuffed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are just going around him in a circle.
Yeah. They're dancing him. They're dancing him into Alien Terrorist is there, which is funny to me.
Oh my god, Alien Terrorist.
They're dancing him menacingly.
Yeah. But there's a bunch of kaiju here that Ultraman has never seen.
Well, yes.
Anyway. Man-san.
Yeah.
Is that what people call him?
Which one?
Man-san? Ultraman? OG Ultraman? I've seen him called Man-san
That's my
before.
human OC of Sans.
Man-Nissan.
Okay.
Everyone just calls him Man because they just, he's on. I wish they kind of did the thing that Kamen did, where it was number 1 and number 2, and like they could have done that with like OG Ultraman and Shinman, but they didn't. So now we have the situation where one is just called Ultraman by everyone, and another one is now retroactively called Jack, which is dumb.
Yeah.
It's really goofy. Why did he do this?
I don't know.
They could have just called him, like, Returned Ultraman.
They did that in the Leo.
Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, I also just like rewatched the banned Ultraseven episode with a good quality. I think that the Jissoji-isms hit better when I haven't seen the Jissoji episode in a while, as opposed to literally the week after Metron, which is just a better episode. That fight scene really is still just like, oh, we're doing the Metron thing again, which doesn't really help it do his favors, but like the other things are still kind of, the other parts of the episode are still kind of cool that way. But I still wouldn't say it's like his stronger episode. And obviously, you know, we talked about it, banned for reasonable reasons, I think. But I still think it's good that like a high quality version of this still exists. I also think that like one thing we talked about in that episode is like I mentioned like, oh yeah, this is the backstory of the alien spell, like their atomic bombing stuff, radiating their planet. And we were like, well, this wasn't clear in the episode. And then I watched this, and I guess maybe it's the new translation where Dan replaces the eye slugger, but I think maybe these newer subs maybe did a better job explaining like the part where like
it's got new subs as well. Okay.
Yeah. The Ultra Guard like tries to stop the kids from getting the watches, and like the alien spell attacks. The aliens spell just like declares their backstory out as it stomps around the town. Like, oh yeah, we bombed her in irradiator cells, and that's why we're after the blood. So it's kind of made more.
I see.
More explicit here, I guess. Which maybe we missed it in our first pass of the episode, or maybe just this translation wasn't as good. Yeah, I will say that like, yeah, I think when I watched the episode way back when, the really scuffed bad blurriness quality made it almost, I gave a dreamlike quality to it, but also like half of this in high definition is just like, oh, that's just Jissoji's trick. He just like does that. So
he just does that. Yeah.
I'd say definitely like this is the better way to watch the episode. Maybe cold take, but yeah, it's also like not a big. It's not a big loss the episode's banned, but also I'm glad like a version of it exists, basically.
Yeah.
And it's an important part of history. I think they should have, Jissoji should have directed the Ultraseven drama, and then in it, Anne bakes a cake for him and says, "I'm so glad you made that episode about the irradiated vampire aliens."
Man. Wow.
Hey Chen, you're such a visionary for
You're such a visionary for taking shots at the irradiated.
Okay, that's all.
That's all. Well, I think that might be it for this movie. In which case, we will be seeing you after this little break where we can talk about anything else.
I'm gonna grab a drink.
Welcome back. We're going to talk about anything else. Who would like to go? I have one thing, but it's kind of big. So
I got a lot.
I got a few things. Maybe I'll go first because I feel like my things. I have a decent amount of things, but also I don't think they're too long.
Okay,
go for it.
I would like to be clear. I've done things, but I've picked a short list. Anyway, please proceed.
Okay. First of all, Saint Seiya is over. Asterix. Finished the 80s stuff. That's alright.
Mm-hmm.
The filler Asgard arc was kind of terrible because they just did the Sanctuary arc again, but bad.
Is it skippable?
It is skippable. I think I recommend you do it because that adds nothing really. I don't think.
Well, that's what I would do.
Except maybe like just peeking at the. Well, no matter. And then the last arc is the Poseidon arc, which I guess it kind of also does the Hades arc, not the Hades arc, the Sanctuary arc again formula, but better. And in a way, it kind of the Asgard arc existing kind of retroactively makes it more fatigue-inducing.
I see.
Something really funny about the arc is that like there's supposed to be like the 7 pillars of the different seas that they have to defeat to break Poseidon's power. But like there's also the 8th main pillar, which is supposed to be the main support, but the decision by the mangaka is to call it the main breadwinner, which is
that's really good. We have to defeat the breadwinner.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a shonen thing, and so I'm like not the highest on it as I could have either compared to others, but it's pretty neat. It has been giving me like a weird sort of like I don't know why I'm like this with shonen anime, but also I do just like Kamen Rider and Sentai. I don't know what the difference is.
That's a good question.
But there is something that is like, oh yeah, I'll clap for Kamen Rider and Sentai, but like I was bored with the last quarter of Full Metal Alchemist. I don't know what it is.
Might just be the live performance element.
Maybe. I remember like when I went to see Virgin Punk, there was a trailer for the Jujutsu Kaisen movie, and I was like, I am being anti-sold on Jujutsu Kaisen, but I'm being shown this. Like, this is so unappealing to my eyes in like a negative sense.
The thing about Jujutsu Kaisen is I have no idea. Like, inevitably, an endless shonen gets towards the end of its run, and literally everyone gets mad. However, the first season of the anime is really good. It's just kind of cute. They've got they have like this. They've got like this they're supposed to have a tournament arc, and they and they go like, okay, now that we've had like the fucking the invasion of the Chunin exams or whatever. Now we have the one-on-one fights. And then they draw the thing from the thing. It's like there are no one-on-one fights scheduled because this other character who is like Gojo has instead replaced the one-on-one fights with a baseball game.
That's very good.
And so they play baseball using their magic stuff, and it's really fun. Yeah. Anyway, Saint Seiya.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the last movie of the 80s is pretty cool where they fight Lucifer. The plots of them are not that... It's about the same as you expect from like a Toei movie, but also it's just, the last 2 movies are pretty good and like well animated and cool and worth your time, I think, if you're watching Saint Seiya. Obviously, if you don't care about Saint Seiya, don't bother, but gonna be curious to see how the Hades arc goes, because that's when they're like, oh yeah, we're coming back in the aughts to do it. And it's Japan now.
The other thing that could contribute to you finding this sort of thing sort of exhausting and then finding Kamen Rider and stuff not, is that Kamen Rider has that episodic format and it's not doing like interminable fights.
Yeah. I
don't know what the pacing of Saint Seiya is like, but
yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. I also never finished reading Dragon Ball, so maybe if I ever revisit Dragon Ball, I'll be able to tell. But yeah. Other than that, mostly what I've been doing is gaming.
Gaming.
What you been gaming?
Yeah. So first of all, got the last thing squared away that I had on my list. Last thing I was able to get down on my backlog of Big O for last year, which is a little indie action game called Assault Spy. think I was telling you about this.
I don't think I've ever heard of this.
Yes.
Brad, do you like Devil May Cry?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, Assault Spy will have you covered.
Wait, is this like a PS2 game?
Hmm?
Is this a PS2 game, or is it?
No. It's like it's basically an indie and Devil May Cry clone, which I found out.
Oh, okay.
I think I found out recently because the person who made the game said so recently. They apparently worked at Capcom on Devil May Cry games, which also explains like, oh, this is why it's the pretty decent one of these.
Yeah,
that makes sense. It's got a similar level of progression where it's like, oh yeah, you beat enemies and you get a style and you get points that you unlock more moves, and it's like that.
The main appeal to me instantly. I'm not going to play this game, but I was instantly like, oh, I like this main character who's like beating people up with his briefcase.
Yes, he's like he's supposed to be a quote unquote corporate spy, which means he's like dressed like a salaryman, and so his tools of the trade are also fighting with salaryman things. Like he fires business cards as a ranged weapon, and he fights with a briefcase. And he gets like a spear kind of thing that was actually like an umbrella, because in Japan it rains. So,
hell yeah!
I just said in Japan it rains like it doesn't rain in most places.
In Japan it rains. In Japan they have this concept. It's called rain. To get rained on.
Yeah, and
it's culturally important to not get to not be wet,
and that's why
on.
They have the kasa, which translates to umbrella, which is a special implement that.
Exactly.
And then the second playable character is Amelia, who I'm shaking my head when I play the game, so people know I don't approve of the CIA because she's a CIA agent. And she's aggressively got the cartoonish American attire. Her main thing is like she fights with punches and kicks, and she's a bit more like Bayonetta in that sense. Like she does a lot of punch and kick strings and that stuff. And she's also fun. It's like they both play pretty differently, and that's pretty cool. And it's not too long. I think it's like what's my playtime on Steam? I can just look that up. Yeah, it's like 10 hours on Steam. Yeah, it's pretty short to do both playthroughs. It's pretty funny. It's a fun comedic game. Things get mad stupid by the end, but
Does it got jump cancels?
I think so. Like it literally has enemy step. That's
okay. Yeah,
that's the level we're working on. Of like
all right.
So
I mean, you only put that in if you're at a jump cancel. So yeah.
Yeah, pretty fun. Like the worst part of the game is like there's this chapter where like you have your weapons removed and you have to like stealth like a quote unquote spy, and like there's one room which is like the worst thing ever. But otherwise, it's pretty okay. Otherwise, I've started. I set my 2026 backlog bingo, and I proceeded to play games that are not on it.
That's a spirit.
I picked away at a series on the. It's a series that was around that is dormant because the Konami franchise, but I played some of the early entries on the NES and Super Nintendo. I started picking away at the Ganbare Goemon series.
Okay.
Also known as the Mystical Ninja for some localization stuff. They're pretty nifty. I don't know how to describe them other than like... It feels like... kind of like a Zelda clone on a belt-scrolling format with some platforming elements, because you can jump and stuff. I played a bit of the first game on the NES. And then I went on to play the second game on the NES and to completion, and I was like, well, this is just like a better version of the first game. Like the game loop is more or less the same, but there's like more variety. There's just like more interesting stuff. There's the boss fights. They add some side-scrolling elements in some rooms and things like that. And it just feels like more... And also like the second game on the NES is when they transition away into like the franchise's like more notable comedic elements and aesthetics. And so it kind of just feels like that's this franchise coming into its own. And it just felt like probably could go back and finish the first one if I wanted to, but I also feel like it's not maybe as necessary because I'm kind of like, well, it feels like it's a bit more repetitive and less variety in the first game. Even if it's like, an NES game, so it's not like it's that long or anything. I've put as a video here a reference just so you can kind of see what's going on here. Just getting some idea. You have like you attack with your pipe, but you can also like get upgrades to fire coins instead. You have to there's little shops and stuff in town, like inns and stuff, to get health, and your goal is to mainly go around and find these like 3 passes to get to each checkpoint to go around Japan to different levels. There's like little goofy things, like I think it's like if you hit certain Buddhist statues, you get sent to hell, and you have to do a level where you like escape from hell for a little bit. There's like comedic NPCs you talk to. Some of the hit detection's a bit annoying. Like it feels like sometimes you get hit by things you wouldn't necessarily in a modern game, or things are a bit slippery. But I think it's breezy enough, not a hard game. It's like not too much of an issue. It's a lot of weird, crazy variety. Like there's like a lot of things you can kind of get by like just jumping, and like, oh, this gets a hidden power up, or this unlocks a hidden passageway, and like you get like these passageways under the ground. This is true of both the NES games. There's passageways under the ground where you go into and you get hidden collectibles, and also some buildings are like, hey, there's a dungeon here. You want to look into this dungeon, and you go into like a first-person maze to get stuff, and it's like, what the fuck is this game on the NES? It's crazy. It's kind of really impressive what they're able to do on this one. Red has BRB'd, so I'm not gonna say this is one thing I'm gonna say for when they come back. But yeah. Besides the second Goemon I'm playing, I also played like the first one on the Super Nintendo, which is localized in the North America as Legend of the Mystical Ninja, but I also played a fan translation of the Japanese version because would you believe if an early 90s video game that's highly Japanese being localized in that era doesn't have necessarily the best localization?
Yeah, this one I'm familiar with because I watched Wooly and Super.
I also watched that one.
Let's Play. Which is a legendarily good Let's Play, by the way, for anyone listening. I remember it was
pretty good. Yeah, the Goemon and his friend Ebi Samara have been relocalized as Dr. Ying and Mr. Yang or something, and it's like, well, I guess you can be racist like that, I guess. And that one, it's kind of surprising, like, when you're playing the NES ones, a lot of it is just in the Super Nintendo one. Like, a lot of the same stuff is there. You have, like, the same kind of, like, exploring towns, a lot of the hidden dungeons, the first-person dungeons, and the underground like things. The main thing this game brings to the table is like the quote-unquote dungeons of each stage / town is like a side-scrolling stage. So they'll have a lot more evidences on the side-scrolling aspect, which is, to my understanding, is like elevated in the second SNES game, which is more firmly a platformer. But yeah, you go through side-scrolling stages as the quote-unquote dungeon. Ideally, you're supposed to go through, like, get your upgrades in the town, like, get the armor and things like that, similar to the NES game, but, like, you do that to kind of muscle through the boss rush. Muscle through the side-scrolling stage and then fight the boss. And I do find that in this game, I start to get more and more pissed off by the side-scrolling stages. By the halfway point of the game, I just found it more and more frustrating. And I feel like some of the aspects of, like, Goemon's momentum and things like that, especially when, like, you take a hit and you lose your power-up, which is like, oh, I lost my power-up, which is the weapon that has longer reach, which lets me not get hit by the boss as much, kind of thing. And, like, oh, this boss, I'm supposed to, like, go under when he jumps over, but the way he jumps gives me his hitbox is such that, like, I have to, like, not only crouch but also learn to Metroid crawl, but also the input for it is not as good, and so it's a lot of finicky stuff by the end. That's what, and the platform gets pretty hard, so I'm kind of like, I feel like I didn't enjoy the first Super Nintendo game the same degree as the second NES one, personally. Just kind of found it more frustrating. But also it does feel kind of crazy that Konami feels like they had their own Yakuza game on the Super Nintendo, where it's like, oh yeah, you can just go into buildings like Gradius and stuff. That's wild. And kind of similar levels of like, oh, you're going around doing RPG stuff in town, getting upgrades and stuff, which it is kind of annoying. Like, it feels like the money to get upgrades and stuff is a lot more necessary and harder to come by in the Super Nintendo one as well. It's another aspect of it.
Does it feel River City Ransom-y in that way?
Put a pin in that.
Okay.
Red, you weren't here, so I held off on this. In the second NES game, Goemon goes around Japan. He does it in both games. So in the second NES game, he goes to one of the places he goes to is quote unquote Ezo, and the boss fight he has to fight there is a bear. So the six.
Okay.
I thought it was very
important. Golden Kamui is happening.
Yes. But yeah, I do feel like by the end of the game, it's like the amount of stuff it's demanding of me, and like I basically was abusing save states a lot more just to be like I feel like I need my upgrades. I need to keep my upgrades to the end to have a chance of fighting these bosses, which are kind of ridiculous. I will say one difference is that like the upgrade he gets in the NES game is like a really he gets coins as a second level and a really hard to aim firecrackers as a third level, so it's kind of useless. Whereas in the Super Nintendo game, you kind of can switch between like using your pipe and using your coins, but the coins actually do drain your money in the Super Nintendo game, unlike the NES game. And also the level upgrades to your pipe in the Super Nintendo game are like a Culminate and a Yo-Yo, which is a pretty good weapon with reach. Yeah, I think this is a nifty series. I'm like, I understand because of release and fan translation reasons why there aren't more indie games cropping this, but also it feels like the kind of thing where like if more people play this, there'd be like a billion clones of these, because like damn, these are nifty and cool, and I'm excited to play the rest of the SNES games, and I'm definitely gonna do the 2 N64 games, and I might do one of the PlayStation games. I remember reading about the series on HG 101 way back when, but I feel like the impression I get of the PlayStation games is they're generally like they're like lesser fare compared to like the Nintendo console ones.
I feel like every time I hear about Goemon, it's a lot of love for that. At least one of the 64 games. I don't know.
Yeah, there's one that's like the big 3D platformer one called localized in English as Mystical Ninja, starring Goemon. But there's also like a more conventional 2D platformer one that was released later in the system's life. But yeah, like playing these did get me thinking about like, oh yeah, like action games / spell scrolling games with like exploratory town elements, buying stuff, upgrades and things like that, interacting with people. And I was like, damn, that reminds me of another game I should probably get around to playing. So yesterday, after finishing the Super Nintendo Goemon 1, I also went and binged in one sitting this other game on the NES called Downtown Nekketsu Monogatari, also known in English as River City Ransom.
Yep.
Well, there you go.
That game rules. That seems really good.
Yeah, it's a fun time.
It's a Kunio-kun game. The second beat 'em up in the franchise after Renegade. But also the third game of the franchise, because the dodgeball game was second. And you go around town, you beat people up, you get food to heal yourself, but also to increase your stats, and you can also learn moves at stores by reading books and equipping them, and it's a fun time. When people said the game was exploratory, I wasn't expecting that, and yet most of the game would still be a straight line where it's kind of really annoying to backtrack. So I did not, but it is that. But even so, it's still a pretty fun game. I feel like I definitely had a harder time earlier on than later, where like I managed to get enough gold to get the do 3 quick attacks with a weapon, and then from that point I was able to just unlock the rest of the bosses at the final stage where you go through school, and I was like, the final boss didn't even hit me. I kind of just not in a bad way, but just like, this is fun. I didn't even let him hit me. So yeah, that was a really fun time. I haven't had a lot of experience with Kunia games before this. Like, I think way back when, like, I played like a couple hours of River City Girls. I don't think I beat it, but like, this was a fun time. I'm gonna play more of these for sure. I want to play I think maybe next. I don't know if I'm gonna do it before or after Goemon 2 on Super Nintendo. I'm gonna play like the second beat 'em up on the NES, which is like based on like it's like everyone is like pretending to put on a play for a period piece, so they're all like samurai themed. That one looks fun. But yeah, it's a pretty fun time. Wow, it's a classic for a reason. Though I did, in kind of like doing kind of a deep dive on Kunia stuff after this, is kind of absurd the levels of like, one, how many games he put on the NES, which is like 11. Like, apparently that's like the most of any series.
This motherfucker was a mascot.
like if he was a Nintendo character, he'd be the mascot of Nintendo. But he wasn't a Nintendo character, so, you know. And second, the amount of like, we didn't get all of them, but also the ones we did get all had inconsistent localization, because you have like River City Ransom, but you also have Renegade, and you also have Super Dodgeball, and you also have Crash and the Boys.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it is kind of funny that eventually they were like, in the modern era, they settled on River City as a localized thing, where it's like, well, maybe you should have done that to begin with, because it's not like, I didn't get the impression that River City Ransom was a niche game in the US. It's like pretty well liked, so they could have, instead of doing Crash and the Boys, could have still kept the River City branding. What is up with that? Those sports games look fun.
No idea.
But yeah,
I've only played River City Ransom and I think the first Dodgeball, and remember liking both.
Yeah, I feel like I want to play more of these. These seem fun.
I think there's a big old collection of a bunch of them now too.
Yeah, I acquired some of those collections. Yes, last night, because I was like, oh yeah, I want to play some more of these, but I'm unemployed. So yeah, I'll touch base on that later eventually, as I continue on whatever I'm doing here. But one of you can go.
Who's going?
Red, do your thing.
I played Trails in the Sky.
Oh yeah. How'd you like it?
That's one of the best games I've played.
Well, there you go. Now you gotta follow the tradition. You gotta start going on Blue Sky, type in Falcom in the search bar. When you see random people talking about them, you gotta get in their mentions.
Oh, I see. Is that what I have to? That's what I have to do when I become a Falcom guy. I understand now. So make sure they know how great they are. This is what I was doing wrong yesterday when I was like, well, now that I've beat Trails in the Sky, what do I do with my life? I should have been getting in people's mentions. Yeah. You're so right.
Yeah, so how is that new game remake, Trails in the Sky, that you played? It's all 3D.
The remake? Yeah, fuck. Why do they look so tiny? I watched some footage. They look so tiny. It's the spiritual successor to Ruby Grim Eclipse. Which is a game where all characters have been hit with a shrink ray. So yeah, I played the original Trails in the Sky, which is a fantastic video game. One of the greats. It's amazing. I love it. It's brilliant. Estelle and Joshua are just a great, because like you go through the game and you've got all the fucking the cast and the party and stuff, but like the only two consistent characters through the whole game is Estelle and Joshua. The rest of the time it's like your party is swapping in and out as they have to go do other shit. And I think it's one of those things where the cultural object exists sort of slightly separately from the thing itself, and the thing that fandom engages with, it's sort of changes and becomes its own thing. That sort of like you play you look at the original thing, and it's sort of like slightly surprising what's true. And the thing that's surprising, what's true, is that, people are always like, aha, yes, Trails in the Sky. It's the incest romance game. And I'm like, okay, I
did not know this.
And then
I honestly did not know this either.
Josh Estelle has an adopted brother, and I think it's really good. There's like I think they're really good. I think there's been a lot of thought and consideration has gone into like, well, the structure of the game is going to be this, and therefore how are the characters written? And it's like, I don't. There's so much of like the whole like slow burn romance stuff that can be frustrating, where like, a character is completely oblivious about another character's feelings. And in this, I'm like, every time we hit one of those things, I can see I'm like, well, of course that's true. Of course that's how that character's going to react to this because of this. And there are multiple, like, there's a party character in this game that is, I'm like, this guy sucks. He's an asshole. He's also like real. Like, that's a real man from real life that I meet all the time. It's Agate, by the way, for anyone listening who was wondering who could this be. Agate. What's he gonna do? I
don't like the mouthfeel of that name. I would just put that
as in the, I believe, the gem. Agate.
Okay.
No, that's the sexual extent.
Yeah. I think the characters are fantastic. I think the game has so much fun with the format of the RPG for expressing character. There's a moment in the game where the bit later in the game, you get to watch because the combat system is a turn-based combat system on a grid. There's a moment later in the game where you get a chance to watch like fully choreographed turn-based fights on the grid. And I'm like, oh, that's what I've been doing. I've been having fun trying to do like, I'm instead of doing like the thing that's really efficient, I'm going to do the cool thing because this character wants to beat this character up. I'm just watching these turn-based fights. It's just, this is not
this sounds like a cooler version of like when you're watching your adoptive dad eat shit at the beginning of Baldur's Gate, though.
Yes. This is exactly that. It's there is a boss fight that I thought that was really, I was like, oh, this is a bitch of a boss fight. I'm never gonna beat this boss fight. I beat it first try. It took some fucking effort, and I was like, that felt really good. That felt like I'm absolute cinema. I also think there's just as much as it's sort of weird. It's like, obviously, people talk about the politics of Trails and stuff, and I'm like, this is a ridiculous. This is don't be silly. But also, it's kind of good. It's like it's a fucking, the intrigue is good because of some very specific things that I don't want to talk about because it's a spoiler for the video game. I think it's good, and I think the ending of the game is fantastic. I think the setup for what the second game is, I'm like, hell yeah. I'm finally getting I'm getting a certain type of payoff for a certain thing that I had a lot of investment in, and I would not describe as actually turning out to being good. I can't say what that is because, once again, I would just be spoiling the end of this video game.
Yeah, I do want to play this
but
game.
I just, yeah. It's very good.
I've been watching a friend play Crossbell, and even out of context, some of the just character scenes I've seen, I'm like, oh, this.
It's really
I
good.
see why people get into these.
Yeah, the Sky games and Crossbell
really
are the ones I was particularly interested in. Partly for aesthetics / gameplay looking reasons, and partly because Cold Steel looks like a mixed bag maybe, and
Crossbell being the detective duology makes it really interesting.
Yeah,
it's a what?
Yeah. You're doing cop shit in a city.
It's also, I think it's also it's notable for taking place in one location, which is also interesting to me.
Let's fucking go. Also, Trails in the Sky has one of my favorite. It's got this fantastic theme that it plays for. It's named after a location. It's called the Leyston Fortress theme, and it is. I would gladly be stationed at Leyston Fortress as a guard if it meant that they were playing that all day on a loop. Just they got fucking speakers every 30 yards. I'm like, hell yeah. I think the aesthetic is very good. I think there is I just think the characters are fantastic. There is, I think the systems are excellent. The combat is, because you've got the orbment stuff. Because you've got materia, but it's less extensive. It's you've got 7. Each character has 7 slots in their thing, and you get specific circuits. And if you've got the short circuits, then you're probably more going to be a physical build. If you've got long circuits, that means you can stack up high elemental score on those circuits, and you'll be able to cast more powerful magic. And then you can get really fiddling around with your augment setup for characters.
That's cool.
And then every character has their crafts because they've got their limit breaks. And
I think it's cute that this series has arts and crafts.
Yes. It's got arts and crafts. Not cute. The craft bar is called the craft points bar.
Unfortunately, this is a problem of many Japanese games.
Yes.
Final Fantasy, I think it's 13.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Also has this.
Let me tell you how annoying it is sometimes when some people just try to abbreviate the word Communist Party on Twitter to 2 letters.
Yeah. I just without thinking described how I had set Estelle up for the latter portion of the game. I accidentally, without thinking, described her. Oh yeah, I've made her the CP king, and I was like, now hang on a second, I have to. What? That's not what I said. I have to rephrase.
I can't believe this game is Diddy Blood.
Trails into Little St. James.
It's but it's just the craft point thing is because you have the limit break that you can activate when you hit 100, and you get a big red button appears on your character where you can interrupt the turns to do the limit break, and you can interrupt your turns at the turns at any time. You don't, but you've got other crafts that take fewer points, and also you can go over 100 points. You can go up to 200 points, and so you can you've got a lot of stuff that you can do. You've got some physical skills if you're not a mage, right? And I think there's a lot of
when
just
gameplay involves interesting decisions.
Exactly.
Wow, you're describing this, and I'm I already knew this was the case, but I'm damn, Hawkeye Star Rail really did just steal this shit. It's the exact same setup.
I just love Joshua starting with an ability to do dual strike, because he's a dual wielder, and he's got this ability to just do 2 hits. It's very simple, very powerful throughout the game. And then Estelle starts with morale, which is you can buff people, and then you level her up, and you you get a taunt for her, and I'm okay, I've got my rogue and I've got my brawling tank chick, and then
Estelle is the character you can make whoever you want, right?
Estelle is the character you can make whoever you want, which means it's important that her limit break, her S-Craft is always a single target beatdown. Like Joshua unlocks a second S-Craft where he attacks everyone on the field. He does like a certain amount of damage to them. And then Estelle unlocks a new S-Craft, and it's like, it's just a longer version of your first S-Craft. And so, set it to this immediately. There's no like difference in utility at all. And I'm like, that's kind of weird. You've just kind of doubled down on this. But it's important because Estelle spends the entire game providing you a list of people she fucking hates. And so long as you have over 100 craft points, if you're in a fight with someone she fucking hates and you think they're low enough HP, you can hit the fuck you button and Estelle beats the shit out of them. And it's fantastic. Big fan of Estelle. Estelle Bright, one of the best to ever do it. There is also, I suspect what's actually going to happen is there's going to be a love triangle, but in my heart of hearts, this game contains a power throuple. It's very good.
I think more people should be brave as to turn love triangles into thruples.
Yeah. I suspect... I think there might be some limitations to this based on one of the character's obligations. Anyway,
I guess they're not winning.
Did you do the thing where
rich girls have duties? Is all I have to say.
Did you do the thing after every story event where like everyone and their mother changes their dialogue and like go around and do that? Or
yeah, I mean, here's the thing, I don't think I got I wasn't obsessive like this. I did get a lot. I was like going around town going like, oh yeah, I'm gonna check up on people, and there are like little story threads that you can follow in town. And it's cool when that pays off, and I'm like, oh yeah, nice. But there is a lot of it where I'm like, if this were like more extensive than it is, like they're really walking the line of like, if this were just like a little bit more annoying, I would be like so pissed off. But like I think it's basically fine, especially because like the game has a rhythm to it where, because this is a game, there are RPGs where they apologize to you for making you do anything that isn't the main story. And then there are RPGs where the main character is like, yay, side quests. And this is an RPG about being a character who does side quests. It's literally your job. You're a bracer. Your job is to do side quests. And so there's a lot of like, there's plenty of like downtime for like, I'm not advancing the whole town right now. I'm doing like side quest stuff. And I think it's a good video game. I thought it was a lot of the side quest stuff I'd found very, very nice. It's really just the strength of like writing. Delivering a lunch to an old man in a lighthouse. I shouldn't be like delighted to do that. I was. Because that old man was great.
You have to do something like that. And
there was like, yeah, there's like a hidden thing where like if you pay attention to the dialogue, you can also buy his favorite snack to go along with his like drink that you're delivering. It's cool. After he has berated you like hours and hours ago for being a bracer who doesn't really pay attention to your customers' needs. It's good. It's a good video game. They also do so much with those sprites. It's fantastic. Nice. It's wild how much you can. How I was occasionally just like, that sprite is literally walking in place, but I don't see it as them just walking in place. I see it as them doing whatever activity they're going about. It just kind of melds. It's good.
Nice. No, also to answer Brad's question, which I didn't. Yes, I would say the Goemon games do remind me retroactively of say Ransom.
I'm going to take a break before I play second chapter.
That's probably reasonable.
Just because I'm like, that seems like a terrible idea. That seems like I would burn out halfway through.
You're not going to have the year of trails.
No.
Trails of the Year.
No.
You're not gonna play. You're not gonna play one every month and still not be caught up because I think there are more games than there are months in the year.
No. I will be playing second chapter this year. That is my
It's unfortunate that.
Well, rest up in the meantime and get in people's mentions.
It's unfortunate.
I will. I'll get in people's. It's also, I will say, to now become Falcom guy in real time. It's so nice to play an RPG made for a PC. I basically played that whole game with my mouse while I fiddled with a fucking stress ball in my other hand. I see. It was nice. It was just a very pleasant experience.
I do wish that Falcom fans were the type to actually care about the company's legacy while gassing them up so much, because they really are the type to just be like, oh, the new thing's out, so you can just replace it with the old thing with that.
I did, out of curiosity, just to torture myself, I did watch a bunch of reviews for first chapter, and there were a lot of people saying things like, this is the perfect place to start Trails. Yeah. And people saying oh, at last you can, if you've been wondering where to start Trails, at last, here is your chance. And I'm like, but I have the game on Steam. I have the first game it's literally on Steam.
It's people talk about the Ys remakes as oh, these just replace the old games for you. You don't have to play those. And I'm like, well, one, I don't think the plot of Ys matters in the same way as it does for Trails. But two, also the different gameplay experiences. I don't think anyone likes the modern remake of Ys 4 or whatever, but people like the PC Engine version of Ys 4 and Ys 3 old and new are completely different experiences kind of thing. And all this does mean that we still somehow don't have fan translations of Xanadu or Sorcerian, which are really culturally important to the development of Japanese RPGs.
Yeah.
So it's just sort of maybe Falcom fans could be a bit more, have bigger breadth to their appreciation of the company and not just selective on only Trails and only the new version of Trails.
Unfortunately, Mel, I am literally only here to play Trails, so there we go. I'm the problem.
Oh well, you're gonna get into bump combat.
I don't know. I'm gonna die one day.
I mean, here's the thing: the original Ys games are pretty short.
Loads of games are pretty short. I could play any given game that's really short.
If I'm 64.
I am going to play. I do think I am going to play those 3 Legend of Heroes games that had the PC or PSP ports before I dive into the Trail stuff.
I really thought you were going to say before I die.
Before I die. Well, I mean, that's the goal for a lot of different things in my life. Yeah. It's hard to play things after you die, I found.
That's a skill issue.
Also, I recently learned that there is just enough tiny text in some of the Trails games to imply that maybe those 3 Legend of Heroes games also take place in the same setting, just very far away, which I think is funny.
Okay.
But I also think it's one of those minor things that doesn't matter, and it's more so a thing that nerds argue about on the internet than actually having any impact on either games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've done other shit, but I can't be bothered.
You want to know what I've been up to?
What you been up to?
No. Okay, yes.
So, we're retiring the Uzinator for 2025 because, you know, new year, new me. I'm the finisher now because I finished a lot of things as I closed 2025 and started 2026. One of these I'm not going to really talk about because honestly, who kind of gives a shit? And I don't really have anything interesting to say. I beat the Switch port of No More Heroes, which is a game I've played like 5 times in my life already. And for some reason, when I played the Switch port when it came out, I got right to the final boss save, like literally the last save point in the game. And I just went, yeah, I'll get back to that at some point.
Just never did.
And then I just never did. And then just randomly, I was like, oh yeah, wasn't I the final boss of that? So I loaded it up, beat the game in like 20 minutes, got the secret ending, because, you know, I did everything for that. And I went, yeah, that's a good game still. That final boss theme rules. One time in my life, I had a podcast named after that final boss theme, even. Yeah. No More Heroes is great.
Did you finish Xenogears?
No. Nope. Maybe this year. We'll see.
Maybe this year we'll finish Abyss.
Maybe. You know what I did finish, though?
What'd you finish?
I fucking saw credits on Muv-Luv Alternative.
Nice.
Finally. That was several years in the making between starting the original Muv-Luv and this. Obviously, I can't say much because spoilers, but I like the ending. I like the ending a whole lot. I think that game ends in a great spot. Very satisfied with it. I've said this every single time I'm talking about Muv-Luv Alternative. I do unfortunately think the weakest part of that trilogy is the back half of Muv-Luv Alternative.
Well,
yes. That being said, though, that's not to say there isn't really fucking sick shit and really powerful emotional beats in that second half. I just think it's the most inconsistent. A big part of this is because it's where they really focus in on a lot of the action stuff. And I think that they get better at pacing the action the more they do it, to the point where the, like, ending final action sequence stuff, I actually think is, like, phenomenal, like, just phenomenal, like, really well done. Some of the stuff leading up to that, I think there's some points where it's a little long in the tooth, and it's like, okay, I get what you're going for. I wish that we could start wrapping this up a little bit. That being said, there's still really great, memorable stuff all throughout. Very satisfied thematically where that comes to a close. I can't really talk about it because I would risk, I think, a lot of the impact of it, so I won't. I do think Muv-Luv Unlimited is still my favorite of the three. But Alternative is really solid. And I do think so if you had asked me a few play sessions ago, I would have said that Extra is probably my second favorite and then Alternative third. I do think the highs that Alternative does get to does put it over Extra for me. But boy, are there some periods of that game where it's like you are doing the VN over expositing and explaining everything, assuming I'm stupid thing that I just sometimes feel like every time I play something in this genre from like 2000 to 2010 is just rife with like, you are killing the emotion right now with how much you feel the need to convey something that I just don't think really matters that much. Or like there doesn't need, sometimes these games, like, I'm not just talking about Muv-Luv, but like even like some, like, I felt this with 999. I felt this with other VNs and things too. Sometimes these things are made with this defensive nature of like, oh, I need to explain what's going on so that people can't poke holes in the world or the plot or what's happening. That feels like it's written for a really annoying guy's response in mind that like you don't worry about those people.
Yeah, I feel like
that makes sense. Yeah.
I feel like I'm like, if I make things, I'm going to do the opposite of that because I'm like, I just do not care about that person.
Yeah. It's kind of bizarre. But some overly long scientific exposition that I think could have been left as mecha magic aside. I really like Muv-Luv Alternative. I do generally highly recommend people play the trilogy. I continue to be impressed all the way throughout how much of it is genuinely wrapped up in, like, the people writing Muv-Luv know that the heart of it is always going to be the relationship this guy has with his friends and with his love interest. And I think the way they managed to wrap in every element of like an otherwise like pretty conventional like mecha robot story into those relationship factors is really strong. Sometimes a little silly when it gets eroge brained.
Like the bed.
Mm-hmm.
Like a bed, sometimes maybe you jeopardize a mission because you have a boner at a bad time. That happens. Yeah. It's kind of dumb. But aside from that, really strong throughout. And very, very happy with that. I'm going to take a break a little bit before I jump into the side story stuff. I am curious to get into that just because I know that some of it is made with the main team helping out. Some of it is like a guy wrote a fanfic and the Muv-Luv people loved it so much that they're like, hey, can you just like want to work for us, basically? So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, if you're at all interested in Muv-Luv, I genuinely think if you want something to read for 2026, it's a good one to check out, especially if you love mecha stuff. The other thing I finished, fucking beat Elden Ring.
Nice.
You did it.
I did it. I was joking with some friends that my headcanon for my Elden Ring guy is that he actually did just spend years fighting Melania over and over again until he finally won. That boss fucking sucks.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's not good.
I think that would be a perfectly okay fight if either you get rid of Waterfowl or you get rid of the healing gimmick. And I think you have a maybe still too hard, but acceptable super boss. Having both is ridiculous.
I would say Elden Ring to me is like Dunning-Kruger curve of people familiar with the Souls shit, and it's like bottom of the thing. It's like, wow, these Elden Ring bosses are maybe suck, and then midpoint, it's like, actually, it's a moral test of your Arthurian virtue to beat a video game. And then over on the right, back into the expert territory, is I think maybe a lot of these Elden Ring bosses fucking suck.
I overall like most of the... Melania's the big one. So I guess, well, I like all of the major bosses, I would say. Some of the random cave and, like... Ulstrated Tree Spirit can fuck off. The ancient hero of Zaramor or whatever the fuck can like a lot of those guys can fuck off. I do like the major like ring bearer fights. Guys like Moog rule. Big fan of those.
Moog's cool. Moog is cool. His delays are really funny.
Yes. I do think Elden Ring there is a very bizarre problem playing Elden Ring where it is definitely made it is simultaneously made assuming that this could be your first Souls game, and also made with patterns that seem to have been made in mind with people have played 3 or 4 or 5 of these already, and we need to mix it up to keep those people interested. Which means that animations and the way that attacks are weaved together is this bizarre alien psychology.
Yeah. And you just
get
these...
is not particularly intuitive.
You get such like long strings that you have to dodge. Like I'm my first time beating bosses in Elden Ring were like basically no hit runs. Because that was kind of how I had to play, because I wasn't playing with like a super high vitality character, and it was like these bosses hit really hard. They do these really long strings, and then you don't get very many opportunities to actually hit them, which is just kind of frustrating, and just meant I kept having these really long drag out fights where it was like this is annoying me. I shouldn't have played a dodgy character. It is what it is.
See, I think this might be a big explainer of our difference of feelings on the boss fights, because one of my most memorable experiences is that fucking Tower of Kalen, where you fight the first Godskin Apostle, or at least my first Godskin Apostle at the bottom. I fought that fucker way too underleveled, and I spent way too many hours learning all of this goddamn patterns. And once I finally did, I'm like, oh, that was amazing. I do kind of like the weird, like, there is, like, genuinely, like, a really bizarre cadence to when you are allowed to attack back in this game.
Yeah. That
I did kind of like fishing out, but also it is much harsher than I would say like Dark Souls 3 or Bloodborne or any of the other ones.
Because my Bloodborne is not like, it's not like my favorite of these games, but the like very, very final boss of the DLC is like I uploaded the fight onto like a YouTube channel or something, and like it's, you know, I remember watching it back and thinking, because like I had like a kind of low healthish build, but I was doing a blood tinge build, and so I had like the katana that like, and then I was doing, for the first phase of that DLC boss, I was doing these parries, and then the second, when he switches to the second phase, there's a moment where I do the thing where you dip the katana in the blood and hold it two-handed, and your health starts draining, but if you attack the enemy, you get health back, and it was, you know, I just had this really, really knockdown, drag out fight with that final boss, really messy of me just trying to stay roughly behind him, and I don't know, it was like really fun. It was kind of chaotic, and then I felt like to beat Elden Ring bosses, I had to reach like such a level of precision that I was like, well, there's almost no point in me playing this game again. It's completely beaten.
The other thing I realized, and this was maybe part of my dissatisfaction, is there was literally a point where I was doing my Millennia attempts, and I went, fuck it, when phase 2 starts, I'm just going to use the Mimic tier, because it's clearly made with it in mind. And then I beat her first try. After saying fuck it, and I went, God fucking... But I do think... all of those fights, I think, past a point, are made in mind with you using the ashes, which I don't know how I feel about. Because I would personally prefer if it was more balanced around the idea that you're doing the solo, and maybe the ashes are there as a little, like, pick me up if you're like, I just don't really feel like, you know what I mean? Like, how summoning was treated.
But at that point, you engage with the section of the fan base that is like, if you beat this boss with summoning, you're some kind of inferior human being.
Yes, which is unfortunate. Which sucks too, because also I do just like doing the fight solo, like two-handing and dodging shit. But I do also realize that this, unfortunately, is also the play style that these assholes are like championing as the only true way, and everything else is cheese to be shat upon. But yeah, it's when I finally beat that boss, I'm just like, oh, like, this was a joke. Like, that second phase was basically me and my doppelganger stun-locking her with dual-wielding great swords, one dealing the blood proc and one doing the frostbite proc, and she just folded like a piece of paper. And it's like, that's how they wanted me to do this. Like, what the fuck am I learning doing all this dodge shit for? And I do genuinely like, in terms of like being able to play around with shit, the amount of variety that they have. I really want to do like an archer, because I didn't do the DLC, I should clarify. I was just like, let's just wrap up playthrough 1. I do want to replay it on PC because I did buy it on sale between the PS5 version coming out and me getting a PC that can actually run it. I do want to do like a dragon magician guy with like maybe playing around doing like a ranged bow build. I think that'd be fun. Like there's a lot of like little things in my head like build wise I want to noodle and try out. I think this game is great for that. Narratively I just think this is my favorite one. I don't know what it is about like the shift from you are going through like a pseudo Arthurian or pseudo like Cthulhu or Lovecraftian like mythos pantheon to these are the children of that pantheon and feel maybe just a little touch more human, both like literally and, you know, textually. That I like the scheming a lot. I like that the side quests in this game make you feel as if you have like a little bit of a fake party almost. Like if you do the gold mask stuff, like you're going to find the Blowjob brothers and unraveling a mystery about who's Radagon. Or if you do the Ronnie stuff, you got the whole
you got
crew.
the wolf guy and you got the whole crew.
Yeah. It's great. I love that stuff. I and that's the sort of stuff I hope if I think they've said before, like, well, we probably would make it for a while, but they do want to do an Elden Ring 2 type thing at some point. That's the type of stuff I would really love to see them kind of, like, follow up on. Aside from, I think, Melania just being a trash super boss, my other big disappointment with this game, I think the Volcano Manor guys had a lot more potential. I personally think they should let me be a giant god-devouring snake freak.
The Volcano Manor feels like is such a weird place because that whole like just the like wandering through that place is like, I don't know, it almost I don't want to describe it as unfinished because it is like it's all there, but it just feels like there's so much less polish there. It just feels undercooked.
Like it's weird because literally you're only practically there for Rykard, which is also very easy to not do. And like there's some quest lines that end up wrapping up there, like if you help the lady like buy her thing back or whatever, like she ends up there, but it's oddly sequestered compared to I think every other area in the game.
Yeah, and then you got the final Rykard thing being like pick up the spear, win.
Yeah, I kind of like it as a. So here's my problem. They do this a lot, and they've been doing it since Demon's Souls of like the Storm Ruler like clone fight. And I don't think any of them have ever been as good as the first one you do in Demon's Souls of like here's the special weapon you use for this fight.
I see.
And have you played Demon's Souls at all?
I have not played Demon's Souls yet.
Oh, okay. But like, PS3, you know, I can do that.
Have
you played Dark Souls 3?
No, but I've watched.
Okay.
I've watched Let's Plays of Dark. I know about the fight. It's the giant fight.
Giant.
Yeah.
Yes. So, I think the reason this is a very funny reason, but I think that there's just something about it in Demon's Souls that works so much better is that you're using a like storm infused sword to do aerial hits on a flying boss enemy. And I just think that's so much cooler than big guy who is otherwise impervious, you know? Like this is actually like, oh, like physically this is different than any, like I normally can't do this in gameplay. Otherwise it's just, oh, well, this is a weapon trait toggle for a big guy that I just don't think works as well.
I also had, so at some point I had a list of like builds I kind of wanted to try out in Elden Ring, and I sort of did a couple and I got them through Lingrave, and then I was like, no, I think I'll just do this for the other Souls, for like Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3, because I haven't played those. I think I'm bored. I think this is too much game. I think it's huge and unwieldy to me.
I think the parts of it, the parts of the hugeness, because I think everyone kind of agrees around the part where you get to the mountaintop, it like you really start to feel like, oh, like they ran out of shit to give you. There are two instances of boss reusage that at least I encountered that I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Which is Godric's unloved cousin, who's just in an ever jail outside of the capital, that is just the first major rune bearer fight in the game in like a optional boss arena that's named slightly differently, that I'm like, this is ridiculous, what are you doing? And the other one is, I think it's really fucked up that the big cool like freak Bloodborne Estelle, I think is the name of an enemy that you fight towards the end of Ronnie's questline, is like the big final boss of that questline, can just like a second one of those can just be found in a cave in like the frozen place. And I'm like, that's I think you should have had the restraint to make those like just special one-off like per playthrough things. Reuse something different if you gotta. But yeah, I ended up, for anyone curious, I did the Frenzied Flame stuff, which I also I love that whole quest line and reveal, by the way. I think it fucking rules that it's just like you get to the capital, you start digging through the sewers, you find the secret genocide cavern, and it's like, yeah, you know, I feel like aligning with Satan actually to burn everything to the ground, because fuck this. But I did do the needle thread thing to undo it to get Ronnie's ending, thus saving a character from demise that you otherwise cannot save. Which is like, I kind of stumbled my way into like a weird like golden ending for for all intents and purposes. So yeah, that was neat. I like that game a lot. Probably strictly for narrative like reasons, probably my favorite Souls game, which previously I would have put as Demon Souls being my favorite. Well, like not favorite game, but I did like Demon Souls story a lot. I think the game's got some neat stuff. But yeah, finally happy to put that to rest. That Let's Play will be finished.
Congratulations. I'm sure your therapist is pleased.
I was wondering that as I finished that, I was like, I wonder if she's like still subscribed.
Lol.
I kind of doubt it. But that'd be funny. But yeah, I've between that, I've also been just playing more Nightreign, because the DLC came out for that, and you know, I've been in an Elden Ringish mood. That second map is a little controversial. It's like a big vertical donut of cliffs, I would say. It's kind of based on...
Sorry.
She's not that tall. But she, I'm talking, refer to the map as she now. No, the map is based on like the underground, like Siofra River type stuff. But it's like a big like cylinder wall essentially of like cliffs and stuff to explore. Some people don't like it because it's so vertical that it can be hard getting to places, and like you really start to feel like the time pressure. Something I do kind of appreciate about it, though, is I do feel like there is a point everyone kind of hit with the first map where once you get good enough and you like trust or have open communication enough with everyone else that you're playing with, that like, you know, we can tackle a boss and we don't have to worry about like someone not having the skill set to like, you know, to pull their weight. It kind of does become a little obvious, like there are certain things or certain tasks that you should do if you're in the vicinity, and like you end up certain spots. Like it's not entirely solved. Like there's still occasionally a conversation to be had, like, hey, do we have enough time to go hit up this like, you know, harder area to get the rewards there, that sort of thing, or do this little weird side quest thing to get the big benefit from it. But otherwise, I feel like as you get better at that first map, like it becomes a little more about doing the run and seeing if your like your rewards were good enough, or you can put together like a build kind of in that roguelike style that'll help you beat the boss at the end. I think the second map was kind of made with that in mind, of them wanting to kind of make you have some more hard choices of like, well, you could do this thing, but are you going to have enough time to do the other things you wanted to do before the nights start to come to an end? And I think that is just kind of boils down to a matter of preference of, like, some people probably just want to play this and not feel that time pressure. Like, they'd rather be like, oh, I've solved this. Whereas other people, and I think I kind of lead this way, is I kind of like every run, you have to kind of weigh, like, oh, do we want to attempt to do this boss rush area? Do we have the time to do it? Or do we want to do something that's going to yield lesser rewards, but is going to be maybe a little bit more straightforward and, more of a proven success? I kind of like having those conversations every run. It keeps things fresh for me, at least. I also switched my main class. I had been playing kind of the tankier guy, who I did learn has the worst iframes in the game. I think he is actually the only class that has, like, the heavy roll. And I started playing the archer class instead, which they recently nerfed because it was very obviously just one of the best classes in the game. Still very good, though. And it has kind of like a D&D Hunter's Mark thing, where to keep you from being all range all the time, it does have like a dash, like, knife sweep thing that if you do it, it debuffs the enemy's defense, both for you and for the rest of your team. Mm-hmm. So you kind of have to weave in and out, and that's kind of fun. So yeah, Nightraign's still been good. I have one base boss left. It's the second one of the two they added for the DLC, to do with friends, and I don't really know if I'm going to do the hard mode versions of these fights. I don't know if I care enough. If my friends want to play something and, like, I'm around, like, sure, but I don't really know if I'm going to go out of my way to, like, get really invested in doing the harder runs. Mm-hmm. They did make the hard mode version of the cool Choir Angel boss fight in the DLC kind of an ulcerated tree spirit, which I do think is really funny.
Okay.
It's different enough and it's doing different things, but it kind of looks and moves like an ulcerated tree spirit. Mm-hmm. Which led to me joking with friends, like, Elden Ring fans getting hyped over ulcerated tree spirit fight being added as paid DLC.
Lol.
Yeah. But yeah. Speaking of Bandai, or From Software, because this one wasn't published by them. We're out of the realm of things I finished now, but I started playing Armored Core 4 again.
Oh yeah,
that's a nifty game.
Nice.
It's no 4 answer, which gets all the love when people talk about Armored Core 4th generation games for a lot of reasons. I mean, 4 answer is just a more complete, full expansion on 4. It's also, when making 4, they definitely made it with, like, a sense of, like, oh, we're on a new platform, we can speed things up and have this be a little more faster and agile, whereas I would say, like, the PS2 Armored Core games are very, like, they're sleeker and definitely more responsive than, like, the PS1 games, but they're still kind of, like, heavy feeling, I would say. Like, there's an intentional, like, clunkiness to them and the weight of the mech. And you can feel with Armored Core 4, they're like, oh, what if we made really fast mechs that, like, were boosting and zipping around, and honestly maybe even, like, too fast to keep up with. And going from 4 to 4 answer, they, like, doubled down on that, which means a lot of people, when they're talking about how cool 4th gen Armored Core is, they're talking 4 answer. And also, 4 is just a very short game. Like, you can beat it, and I'd say easily less than, like, 7-8 hours. And, like, there's not really, like, multiple endings or anything. You can, like, go back and try to S-rank missions or play on harder difficulties, and, like, they make the missions a little more complex, but, for a lot of people, it's like, oh, you play Armored Core 4, so you have, like, the base plot understanding, so you can play the quote-unquote better game sort of thing. But I do think people are too dismissive of it. I think that if you want a fast-paced game that has really good 5 to 10 minute missions that you can just kind of pick up, play for a little bit, then put down, I think Armored Core 4 is a very great game for that. And I do recommend it if people are interested. I wouldn't say I would recommend it as a first Armored Core. I think Armored Core 3 or Armored Core 1. I guess I'd put Armored Core 6, but, like, 6 is almost kind of veering towards its
It's its
own thing.
The thing for me that defines 6 is that when you're facing one way with the mech, if you tilt your analog stick to face the other way, you spin around in place like an action game character, and you're facing the other way. It's,
there's a very clear break in how they work, for sure. But like traditional Armored Core, if you want to go by the start with, I'd say 3 or the first game are both excellent places.
And the first game is fantastic, and
I love that game.
It has such a terrible final level that it's almost charming.
It is. Like, it sounds douchey to say rite of passage, but like
you have to get to the final level and see what it is and go, no. What are you talking about?
It feels like a weird hazing, like video game development hazing ritual. It's so bizarre.
And then you have to and then you do it, and you're like, okay, I'm done. And then they're like, joke's on you. You have to do it again.
And also requires you to do a task that 1/4 of the different categories of mech you can play in the game, all about mech customization,
cannot
do.
That's very funny.
It's very funny. Bizarre choice for a final level. Like, you literally just get to a point where it's like, oh, I have to turn the game console off.
Yeah.
like that's actually what you need to do. It's ridiculous. But yeah, but that's not the only AC I played.
Assassin's Creed.
Animal Crossing.
Yep.
Anon Chihaya.
Sure. I don't think that's a game. I think that's that one funny lady I'll talk about.
I think she'll get into she could be the ideas guy on a video game. She could manage this. She could be like, she could be like, Tomari, I've had an idea for a video game. And then make Taki would get into RPG Maker.
I'm about to say something very cool.
Yeah. Taki would get into RPG Maker, and Anon would be the ideas guy.
If I had a better memory, I think it'd be very funny if I tried to sketch out a description of this character based on solely the knowledge I have from you two talking about her.
Yeah, that would.
I think it'd be very funny, but alas, it leaves my brain too fast.
Mm-hmm.
Air Combat is a PlayStation 1 video game.
Let's go!
Nice. I do gotta play that game.
I decided that instead of reading every Wheel of Time book in 1 year, I'm instead going to play every mainline Ace Combat game in 1 year. Good. Which is a much more achievable goal.
Yeah, one of this is like a lot more manageable.
I'm like halfway through Air Combat. This is another game that I've literally I think I've basically been like the past week or so. I've taken, okay, there's a story behind this, but I took a few days off here and there, but like I've basically been poking away at Air Combat like one mission at a time and being like, yeah, I'm good. That was fun. And then closing the game.
Yeah.
And it's a fun way to approach it. It's honestly, people always, this is like almost like dead horse comparison at this point, like the similarities between like Ace Combat and Armored Core, but like there is just something to be said about like the very fast-paced, objective, like mission-based game design of these games. Mm-hmm. And you kind of having to worry about like, oh, what gear am I coming into this with? How is that going to change how I approach this little tiny sandbox objective? And, other factors like, well, my objective is to just go into this place and blow up these 2 skyscrapers. How much do I care about just rushing in, taking my gamble, and seeing if I can do that without getting shot down? Or do I want to play methodically, try to clear out some of these anti-aircraft guns on the perimeter of the city, mm-hmm. and then do a safer run? And when the game's doing that sort of shit, or actually the one that I think I did not too long ago, it's go blow up this this oil refinery facility, and then follow the mission. 4 branching pipelines
yes.
off of the base we don't know where they are on the map, but if you follow the pipeline, you will find the other like sub refineries and then blow those up too. And like that's really fun. I really like that. It's great. The soundtrack is neat, but not quite there yet. I know at some point that the soundtracks become incredible, but Air Combat, it's serviceable arcadey music, but it's not quite what I think of when I hear Ace Combat song. The options to go into the missions with different priced mercenary pilots to be your wingman, and the orders to like, hey, play defense for me, or oh, go do your own thing. Great, love that. I've played around with just enough of the planes available to get a sense of like, oh, like this is the fast but really fragile one, or oh, this is like the big like firepower one that maybe can't maneuver is great. Like that stuff is all good. It's all there. I'm sure that they're going to refine the hell out of this, starting with the sequels to really get that incredible like aspect of like, oh, you have so many options with the gameplay, and like I know that people become guys for particular planes in this series.
Yes.
So
I mean, part of that is the planes having a real world history.
That makes sense.
So like, and then you know, having that kind of it's Cold War stuff. You get there are some interesting. Anyway,
I do think that this has opened the doors for me to revisit something I have not touched since childhood, which is becoming a flight simulator guy.
Oh, okay.
Which like these are obviously trying to do like I mean these started literally as arcade games with like gimmick control schemes that they then ported to console. So these are like simulating if you want to be the cool guy, like blowing shit up in the sky part of the fantasy. But you know, not really touching on the simmy aspects of like, oh, like taking off and landing and having controls for all the different like gizmos on the plane. I was kind of into them. So this is a tricky thing because I associate flight simulators as like one of the few things that me and my biological dad, who's a piece of shit, bonded over as a kid. And that just kind of soured me on it as like that relationship kind of fell apart. But deep down, I am always kind of like, man, flight simulators are cool. And I do think maybe it's like, it's been long enough. I could probably dive back into that and just kind of reclaim that as the thing I'm into for myself without those associations. I did pick up Falcon 4 because that was on sale. I was like, maybe do something with this one. So yeah. I might this might be the year of the flight sim Brad. We'll have to see. I could get really into IL-2 Sturmovik again.
Oh god.
How do you even know what that is?
It's like a flight sim. You play a very particular plane, if I recall. And the thing I remember being cool about that game from when I was into it as a kid is like you have like a fake career mode thing where you like get assigned missions and like your career is impacted by how well you do in the missions. It's kind of neat.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, I remember landing on an aircraft, like an aircraft carrier being a pain in the ass, though, and I don't think I ever really quite figured that out, because I was a tiny child. But airplanes are cool. Miyazaki voice.
Miyazaki voice. The airplanes made specifically for war are cool.
But yeah. I'm excited to wrap up Air Combat.
And really, it's a lot like being an animator, making a death machine for war.
Making a death machine is a lot like animating an anime movie. For some reason.
I'm excited to close out Air Combat. Got halfway to go because I from what I have gathered, Ace Combat 2 is a big step up. So
yes.
That's all I got.
All right. Wow.
Damn, nice.
Do we have any emails?
No, we don't. No one wanted to write in about this weird movie.
Well, that's good because I want to go play Snatcher with my friend, and it's nearly 8 p.m.
I want
Snatcher?
Yeah.
I hardly know her.
Wow. There you go. It's a very cool game.
Snatcher's neat.
Snatcher's cool. I was not expecting that opening when I loaded up the game. It's very good. Well, that is going to be it for this week. Next week, it is Ultraman USA.
Yeah, also known as The Adventure Begins.
The Adventure Begins.
To be clear to the audience, much like Ultraman Rising, this is an American-made movie first. So you should be watching it in English.
Yeah.
However, it's also a weird situation where, like, there's an original dub in the 80s, but also the Mill Creek release has a completely different grub. We will be presumably watching the original one, but just know that, like, there are differences between the new and old dub, apparently.
All right. Well, sick. We will see you next week for that. For now, it's goodbye.
Goodbye.
Later.